Good evening, everyone. Please let me know if you can hear me. Somebody let me know if you can hear me. Hello? Good evening, everyone. Please let me know if you can hear me. Okay. Somebody let me know if you can hear me. Okay. Okay, I'm going to wait till, well, I'm going to, hold on. You have to do this. Okay. Okay, I'm going to have to turn that down. All right. So I got a little different setup here, so please bear with me. You know, we hadn't done the Kennedy Frnk show in a second. And I'm waiting for Tavares to come in because he's going to finish up the mayor's briefing, and then we're going to go into the city council meeting. If he comes on, I'm waiting for him to come in. Let's see here. Okay, anyway, so while I'm waiting for him to come in, I'm going to see where I'm at on this. I think he said he had 10 more minutes to go on it. So let's go ahead and get
stage in the world was just one step in my journey. Hi.
Tending to communicate probably through these briefings or some of them.
So he said he had about 10 more minutes left.
You know, one iteration. You could have one other private business in there. You're good.
Okay, so I'm going to stop right there because that's where he's supposed to come in at. I'm just going to leave it right there. So when he comes in, we can go ahead and finish with him. But anyway, I want to say welcome to the Can We Be Frank show. I hope you guys are having a great evening. It's Friday and Memorial Day is Monday, but I want you guys to have a safe weekend. Please do not do anything that's going to allow anybody to hurt you, right? If you're around family and friends, you guys do not overdrink where you're getting angry, because whenever we drink and we start acting a fool, somebody gets hurt every time. So put up the guns. Don't be out there shooting each other because you're mad at something they said about you. That's crazy, but don't do that, you guys. Please don't. Also, keep in mind, make sure that you don't have weapons or anything around your babies, okay? We're having a lot of crazy accidents that are happening. And so I think it's very, very important that we keep all those type of weapons away from our we want to go into this next month, because this is June, and we want to minimize any crazy accidents that can happen when it comes to our children and when it comes to us as grown-ups. You guys, we got to figure out how we can handle our anger, okay? We're going to have to figure out how we're going to start handling our anger, because I'm noticing that I know we're going through a lot on the external when it comes to all the stuff that's going on in our, in our external world. And the ideal that we have to try to not let that bother us as far as when it goes to our everyday life when we're at home. And sometimes it does overspill. And it's sad that it does. But we got to figure out a way to where we can control that. And it's easier said than done. I'm going to say that right now, because everybody gets angry. Everybody's dealing with a lot right now. So I just think we need to figure out a way that we can handle our anger differently. I say walk away. I could say that all day long. Go for a long walk. Alcohol and marijuana, because I know those things everybody does not take away whatever it is that you're going through. It just masks it. Okay, that's all it does, mask it. It doesn't do anything else. At the end of the day, when it's all over with, somebody could be hurt in the midst of all this. A lot of abuse during this time of the year. Let me tell you something. I'm telling you from what I know, being a domestic violence advocate, around this time of the year, when it gets hot, domestic violence rates go up higher. They increase. So I'm saying that you guys be careful out there. Just be careful, okay? If you feel like you're in danger, maybe you need to leave the house for a little bit. Don't ever tell nobody, I'm not leaving my house. No, leave your house, okay? It's a house, all right? Everything is replaceable except you and your kids or the person that you're dealing with. They're not replaceable, okay? So a house, a car, clothes, all that stuff is replaceable. If you've never lost it, there's a possibility that you might lose it one day. But I'm just saying right now that you need to definitely When someone is acting to the point where you're afraid to be there, don't be standing up there arguing with them. I can't stand to see that. I wish I would, especially when you already know that person can get to that part where they're taking it to that next level. You standing there going back and forth with them or constantly asking them questions over and over again is dangerous. I don't understand why y'all do that. Why? It's dangerous. Just walk away. Walk away. For some reason, our brothers love killing us. I don't know what it is about that, but they love killing us. Walk away. Be strong when it's necessary. I'm serious. I'm not saying this to be scared of them or nothing, but to save yourself, walk away. Don't keep arguing with somebody. Okay? Walk away. It doesn't make any sense to keep arguing. For what? You're escalating a situation. You're making it worse with you going back and forth with them. Telling them how bad they are. Telling them they ain't this and they ain't that. Stop all of that, you guys. Walk away. I mean, just walk away. So let me see if I can contact Tavares to see where he at. Okay. Looks like I can't get him. I guess he'll come eventually. Good evening again. Welcome to another episode of the Can We Be Frank show. I know it's been a while since we've been on here. I was just ranting and raving about this being the time of the year when domestic violence is high. Since Tavares was doing this part of the segment when it came to the mayor's briefing, I was kind of giving him a break to come over on my end to do it. I was just trying to get him on the phone. And for some reason, let's see here. Let me see here. Give me a second, you guys. Let's see if I can get him. I apologize, you guys, because he was doing such a great job with it. You know, I would not be surprised if he's asleep. Because I'm waiting on you. Okay, so can you do it over the phone or what? Okay, you were commentating the last 10 minutes, right? Okay. All right, bye. Okay, so he just told me to start on the city council meeting. So he's been having issues with his internet. So we're gonna go ahead and do the council meeting.
first matter to address is to consider final adoption of an ordinance to establish a hearing bureau and administrative procedures to adjudicate code violations related to blighted and abandoned property, public health, housing, fire prevention, and the environment, and other matters with respect thereto. Okay. Is Mr. Smith here, or who's going to talk about that? Okay.
I'll start. Kay, you want to come up and this is on adjudication. I meant on the hearings. So I'll start the general. Daniel may want to come. I think Kay can handle it. Here's some of our talking points. Mr. Lawverdane, Mr. Chair, I think that you've been as the key point of contact on the council briefed by Ms. McGills and Daniel Smith earlier or in the last few days. The idea here is we've seen some challenges when we try to take a next step in city court to do some adjudications there. You know, the particular hotel, motel that we've had a lot of challenges with and moving toward there. Mr. Chair, while a great idea and a potential help, and this is no criticism of the court, its personnel or anything it does. Courts are better equipped. They can handle misdemeanor things. They can handle the criminal side, but to handle all the problems that come with notice, enforced errors, and other things that can come up, probably not the best, even though maybe later it could be helped. The ALJ idea would be to have, instead of the council hearing appeals, we would set up with properly hired, participated in by all of us lawyers in town who maybe in a perfect spot in their career could be the administrative law judges and move that docket along, if you will, make findings of fact, applied against the law, and then direct appeal those to the district court, and that would really help us move these things along.
Hey, I got something to say real quick, you guys. Kay Miguel ran against Jock Roy when he was running for office. Then he turned around. Once she finished running and he won his position, she wound up becoming working for the city of Alexandria. That's the kind of stuff they do. I just wanted to share that with y'all. Yeah, she was one of the candidates that ran against him.
That's the general.
Just for the people who are here, listen. This process is designed to deal with blighted property.
Correct.
How does this process address blighted property?
I will turn it over to Mr. Gills, or we'll turn it over to Daniel.
Okay. Sorry, I was a bit late. I thought this committee was at 4:30. I apologize. So the upshot is this is to allow the administration to have a hearing officer to levy fines and fees against property owners for having blighted properties. Primarily be used for blighted properties, but it does also authorize for violations of public health, fire code in particular. The fire chief has expressed an interest, and we have dangerous situations to also bring this before a hearing officer. But by and large, in the way we've written it here in the first iteration, we'd like to have to go after blighted property.
When you say public health, what do you mean by that?
The city does have a section of sanitation, public health type ordinances. This would be a pretty rare situation, but
Someone not having water hooked up. Someone
discharging. Thank you.
Do you guys see how Jock comes in and takes over? Because a lot of this is not them, it's him. If you can see that it's more him than them, you can tell how he has something to always say. Hold up, let me go to CIA. I'm sorry. Okay, I apologize, you guys. I had to come bring it up. Okay, all right. Hello. Okay, so you noticed how we're live. So you noticed how when he's talking, it's always Jock that comes in, because a lot of this is not them. It's usually Jock. So just listen.
We have had situations in town where people did not have the utilities cut on and they were discharging sewage in an unsanitary manner on the property. That'd be an extreme situation. But by and large, yes, it would be for properties that were in blighted condition, to be able to have a hearing officer independently make that finding, which would then allow the city to do initially a small fine, or also give the person an opportunity to tear it down or fix up the structure, right? This is to sort of provide that carrots and sticks approach to bring them before a hearing officer prior to bringing them before the council, where you just have sort of a condemnation situation, try to intervene in some of these situations where people do need some incentive. And then also for commercial purposes as well. We're not strictly talking residential.
Condemnations, will those still come before the council or those?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
this works in conjunction with condemnations.
Absolutely.
These would be interim judgments.
Right.
That would attach to the property.
Now, for laypersons, what does that explain to laypersons?
So you have personal judgment and an interim judgment. Those are the two main types. Personal judgment would be against the individual, as it sounds. Those are situations where people can go after other properties or go after garnish their wages, their other assets. That's not what would happen here. So this is just a civil, non-criminal judgment that would attach to the property. And then the enforcement goes by just that property if it's able to be. If there's a lien is placed in the property, it's the form of the enforcement. But it doesn't follow the person around.
So for non-lawyers, what you're saying is the city can get a judgment that will go just against that property.
That's correct.
The property could be traded around, someone would have to cure that issue if they were to acquire it with that. That's where the money comes in, as opposed to a personal judgment on an individual where they have to pay it, it could be garnished or anything else. It doesn't do that.
Now, is the city contemplating having to seize properties and sell them?
That could be an ultimate remedy. Now, the state law that authorizes this does not allow that procedure to occur against properties with homestead exemptions. So your personal property is sort of protecting that. You can still file a lien that could show up on your taxes as with any other lien, governmental encumbrance.
So if my memory serves me correct, homestead exemption applies to the first $75,000.
Sure, but this is more if you have the status of a homestead exemption. So the assessor, independent from the city, determines whether you're get a homestead exemption. So basically, it's if you're a bona fide resident of your own home, then for these types of liens, there can't be a seizure and a sale. But for like a blighted commercial property where someone's just sitting on it, it's falling apart, the city would probably want to ultimately.
So practically, most blighted properties will be worth less than $75,000. Residential.
Right. Well, the liens though would be way less than that on a residential property. So it's not so much the exempted part of the real estate taxes; it's to satisfy however much that lien is.
But it seems like the city really will not be seizing any properties with homestead exemption on.
Well, that's correct. That's allowed.
Yeah,
Right.
I know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. So I think the best example would say, and currently the city has the ability to do that same kind of seizure and sale with the judgment.
You know what I like about Malcolm, what Malcolm does? Because they think when they're talking, you got three lawyers sitting there. I want you to understand, all three of those people sitting there are lawyers. Kay Miguel was with Gold Wings. They're all lawyers. So talking all that legalese stuff to a bunch of people who don't understand it, what Malcolm does is he steps in and say, okay, in layman's terms, well, including Malcolm, so he's the fourth lawyer. In layman's terms, this is what it means. Because you can say all of that stuff that they're saying, and people won't comprehend that. They wouldn't understand what that is. So I like the idea that Malcolm steps up and say, okay, so what does that mean in layman's terms? I like when he does that because that lets them know that whatever you're saying, we need to understand. So when we go back to our constituents and explain certain things to them, we know how to explain it on their level. Not to say anybody is not intelligent enough, but a lot of words that they use in the legal system, they are some words that you be like, what? That's what that means? So I love the idea that he does that.
From the court to enforce a demolition lien. After we do the condemnations, city comes back a second time, asks for authorization to file the liens. Let's say there's a $10,000 lien that's been filed. The city does have the right. We're looking into doing that more, but to get a judgment from the court and proceed and do a seizure and sale for a demolition lien, you guys authorize a condemnation. This would be a separate type of lien. The city wouldn't be owed anything for money it's spent to a contractor, but there would be these fines the hearing officer would levy as the penalty for violating the law, the violation being having blighted property. That in some situations, a truly abandoned house with known homestead exemption, but really more likely commercial property where there is possibly some saleable value. There's some.
Okay, so what they're trying to do is, this is from what I'm getting from, and he mentioned it in his briefing. So what they want to do is they want to have an adjudicated court prior to these actually going to a real civil court, right? So they want to be able to take the adjudicated, before it becomes adjudicated, is to tell you, okay, you own blighted property. It's a health and welfare situation, it's a fire situation, all this is going on. We're going to give you a chance to fix that. If you don't fix that at that time, then we are going to find a way. We're going to send you to this little so-called court that they're going to put all their own people in, because he mentioned it earlier in the briefing. And they're going to make a decision whether or not they're going to start fining you on that level before they take it over to the regular court. So they're, in other words, they're trying to give you a chance to clean it up or whatever has to be done to it prior to them taking it over to the court. But listen to what he's saying. Now, if they fine you, that's money going into the city. Now, listen to what he's doing. He's saying if they set up a fine system, whatever, right? That fine, if you don't do what you're supposed to be doing or you don't adhere to their regulations or their rules, then what they're going to do is charge you and fine you. That money is not going to the court system. That money is going to the city of Alexandria. That's what he's trying to set up. So the money doesn't go into the court system like it normally does. They're trying to cut it off where it don't go to the city, the court. It'll go straight to them. Do y'all understand what I just said?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what they're trying to do. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the legal committee to take that to the council and let the council vote on actually creating this sort of adjudication court. So they're trying to get a hold to any fine money, because they can fine them because it's within their rights to fine them, but they can fine them. So if they get all the money from the person from here, it's going straight to the city of Alexandria. And then when it does get to the point where it goes to the court, you know what I'm saying? They already done got the money from them. You see? Now, he also explained that if you have homestead exemption, if you understand what homestead exemption is, it means if you live here, a certain amount of money, they can't touch your home because it's your home. You understand what I'm saying? And you only can have one piece of property. You can have 2 or 3 pieces of property, but only one of them can be your homestead exemption.
Right.
Yeah, it's on
so much for
homestead exemption. That's right. Okay.
The property could be worth the lien. In that case, you would, if someone really never paid and just abandoned the property, that is the way to get back into commerce. Exactly right. That's correct.
And also, homestead expires when the owners pass, unless the heirs take it on and they claim homestead. So
I believe so.
That's a possibility.
Okay.
Now, walk us through the process from start to finish.
Right.
Just give us we did in law school a fictitious.
I'll try to. Okay, sure.
Give us a hypothetical.
The city sends a lot of letters already. So let's say it's a situation where there's a blighted gas station that's been abandoned, or the city believes it's blighted and wants it to be determined as blighted by a hearing officer. So it's spelled out in the statutes too. For anyone paying attention, it's Title 13-2575 and 13-2576 lays out the entire process, and that's where the ordinance is developed from. So So say first you get your courtesy letter, people throw it in the trash. Your second letter says, no offense. Now the second letter has, you need to come appear on February 1st, whatever, before a hearing officer. We've now set a date for you to appear. And that notice, which would be sent by certified mail to the owner, and if it's a blighted property, it also has to be sent to all the mortgagees. In a commercial situation, it could also send it to the tenant, because a lot of times the tenants in a commercial situation are ones responsible for the condition of the property. It would have the date, they would show up. It has some protections. It says, if you want to send in some documents, you're going to fix it ahead of time and prove to us, we can just not even have the hearing. People will more than likely show up to the hearing. It does also say, and it's authorized in state law, that if you don't show up and you've gotten that notice, you can still be found liable for the blighted property. So then the hearing officer would open the hearing. It runs by normal rules of evidence, although because it's an administrative hearing, it's a bit more relaxed. That's correct. But you still have to swear the witnesses. Everyone gets an opportunity to present their case. The hearing officer would find the facts. But in a lot of these situations, the facts themselves are going to be pretty clear. You have like an inspector with a photograph and an inspection report. And I mean, the city's going to go after the low-hanging fruit first, where there's very clearly blighted property. If there's any argument, it's going to be over notice and that kind of thing.
So that's when the homeowner shows up, he or she will be presented with some type of inspection report showing.
That's correct. Right. So to get a little more granular, typically these hearings, you'd have a hearing officer would first swear in the city official, make them prove notice. Here's the green card or whatever. Should then it's show me like Mr. and Mrs. Inspector. Is this there's going to be a report. They'll have to authenticate the report, authenticate the photographs. Basically, you have that witness there saying, yes, I did indeed on that day go out and so I took these photos. We took them more yesterday. Nothing has changed. That's almost the extent of the city's case in a blighted property hearing. Then, of course, the owner showed up, or if they sent a lawyer on their behalf, that lawyer could then, argue either they didn't get noticed or whatever their defense would be. And a lot of times, these can be people. And you guys have seen this in the council condemnation. Someone shows up and says, couldn't find a contractor, there was just a storm, XYZ, can I have more time?
That was going to be my question.
Yeah, that's pretty common. And I think the city would, and this is hypothetical, like we're in law school, the hearing officer likely would say, well, city, what do you think? And the city could say, well, they could come back in 30 or 60 days and they've got a signed contract and they pull a permit. That's your kind of sticks and carrots, hand holding someone through the process. But if they get an extension of time and nothing's happened, then you might see, this initial judgment.
So the hearing officer, they would have the knowledge needed to understand that if the individual comes and says, oh, I need 30 days or 60 days or whatever, okay, is this even going to be a reasonable request to actually fix something or not? I think because sometimes for us up here, we haven't actually gone to the property, and so we have to make those decisions. Sometimes it becomes challenging. But I think the hearing officer, would they be very qualified to?
Well, yes.
One thing I can say that, Councilman Felter, the hearing officer will more than likely have a docket, and it may be incumbent upon the individual to go see some of these houses themselves, although that may be some liability on driving in a wreck, but.
So the hearing officer, we're likely going to have it selected by an RFQ. I mean, they're really the judge. So frankly, the hearing officer shouldn't be going and doing their own fact-finding, right? It's the city's, well, and they shouldn't be doing ex parte communication either. I mean, you want this person to be independent, unbiased, but it's up to the city, just like in a court, to prove the city's case. The city will have the burden of proof, so to speak, that it's blighted.
One of the things, Ms. Lawbridge, is it adds due process. I mean, you're adding a layer of due process that gives those folks a chance. I mean, you have notice proved up in front of somebody who's not just works for the city that way. They're a lawyer who takes an oath to act as an ALJ. They swear to be impartial. They have to do that.
There's a 2-year requirement.
And that comes out of state law.
Do you think we should do more, or?
We could. I mean,
I'm just putting it out there. What are the pros and cons about that?
Well, state law, I mean, of course, opening up to the greatest number of people. But I mean, we could, state law allows it to be at least two, right? We would, of course, in our RFQ would want to put in.
Okay, I stopped because I need to go back over here and see. Oh, hello, everyone. They are counting on you not understanding. Exactly. Exactly. Good evening. Good evening, you guys. I wasn't ignoring you. I'm working 4 screens here. There's an echo. Okay. That's probably because I have 2 devices on. I apologize for that. It has an echo. Okay, hold up, you guys. That's because, let's see, let me see what I got on here. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, let me come out of here and then there we go. So if you have an echo, I apologize. I don't mean for you to have an echo. I have 2 devices, probably side by side, but I apologize for that. Yeah, so you're right. They don't want us to understand. Okay, let me see. Well, I don't care if he will or not. Doggone it, Mr. Nat Turner. Talking about Tavares Wayne Swafford would never. All right, that's fine. Well, I'm not Tavares Swafford, okay? So deal with it tonight. All right? Okay. That's because I have my mic on from my webcam and I also have the speaker on. So you'll be all right. Nah, but he would talk through it all. Yeah, he would talk through it all. That's what Mr. Brown said. I'm not going to talk through it all. I want you guys to hear this. So first of all, let me give you a little scenario. They're in Legal Affairs Committee, and they're talking about, if you remember earlier today, when Tavares did the show, he left off on the mayor's briefing, and he was talking about the adjudicated court that they want to start. Well, this is the legal, because it has to go through the Legal Affairs Committee. So he's explaining to them so that they can see if they can put it on the agenda to vote for it or get it ready to be voted for, to actually add it on to something that they can do. Before they send it to regular court, they want to be able to find the person or whatever prior to them actually going to the city court. So you understand what I'm saying? Not you guys, because I'd already explained to you. So they're trying to create this adjudication court on the city level. So if there's any fines or anything, they'll get their money. That's another avenue to bring in money, because you know they have over 1,000 pieces of adjudicated property in the city of Alexandria by itself. Mr. Porter told us that. So just imagine how much money they could make if they find them people for those blighted and adjudicated properties. Because right now they're just sitting on the books. They're not doing anything. And then you got to go through Civic Source, if I'm not mistaken. Nat, let me know if I'm wrong. And it costs $5,000 per, it doesn't matter what it is. Okay, don't care how small the plot is or how big it is, it's $5,000 just for the process. So they're trying to, they need to clean their books off. Rapides Parish got a large book too. I actually seen both of them before when a friend of mine was looking for adjudicated property. So what I'm saying is that property is there and your property becomes adjudicated with them, but you're going to pay fines on it if you don't do what you're supposed to do. And he was explaining to him the process that it takes to get there. And also he was explaining the homestead exemption, how they can't go after anything that's homestead exemption. If your piece of property is homestead exemption, they can't put a lien on it. They can't mess with it in a sense. Okay. So let me go ahead and finish. So I apologize for the echo. Bear with me. Tavares is not here to fix that for me. So ain't nothing I can do about it. All right. So let's go ahead and get back into it.
Real estate experience. Something in there to show that you do have, as you said, some kind of expertise in that sort of area of law or that practice. I mean, it is something we could put in the RFQ. If you guys wanted to put in the ordinance, that's an option.
We have something under the owner of the property.
That's the most power ever talk.
Mm-hmm.
Where do they appeal the decision?
District Court.
That's correct. And that's provided for in the statute. And that'll be reviewed. This is interesting. I mean, it gets reviewed on the record the hearing officer develops. So that's really the hearing officer's job, of course, is to determine whether it's blighted or not. But their job is really to build that record, have a clean record for if it does get appealed, that the testimony is clear, the documents were authenticated and introduced correctly, that everyone got a fair shake, of course.
And who hires all the, will there be any personnel also?
So we believe we can, or maybe I can defer to the administration, but they seem confident they can handle it with existing personnel, because they already do send a lot of those notices, condemnation notices. The learning curve would be kind of getting people trained up on the procedure, but it doesn't require a ton of city staff.
And if we need a report, could always hire, just like you do, you get a,
Well,
just like you get a deposition. But if we want to establish someone at the court already that does that and work that out with the judge, we could do that if we need that separate.
But yeah, it does need to be recorded. I mean, that's a requirement. There has to be a record. And I mean, this is, 20 years ago, I'm sure you're when you were a young lawyer like myself, they would break out the cassette and this record button. Nowadays, of course, we would have video technology.
All right. Now, something else that kind of dawned on me. Is there any way that neighbors adjacent to this property could also be informed or receive some type of notification to say, hey, that house next to you is on Blight Court, so people can know?
I mean, we certainly could do that. I mean, they do that for like the Board of Zoning Adjustments. I mean, a lot of times these cases are made, it's brought to the attention of the city by neighbors, and people can appear as witnesses. Now, I will say this, we have in the ordinance a requirement that the notice not only be mailed, but it also gets posted to the property if it's, safe to do so. So in that sense, that notice will go up and.
Chair, do you want people to know so that they could testify?
Well, that they will know that something is going on to remedy the situation.
It does need to be posted to the house before the hearing.
Okay, so I'm talking about the neighbors, like neighbors who have to live day to day with this blighted property. I'm just thinking, is there any way we can kind of let them know so they can say, hey.
You look like you think there's a
Most
heck
often, that's how they come to our attention in the first place. And people continuously call, they'll call and report it, and they will follow up, believe me.
All right. I just want to make sure.
Generally be informed.
And Madam President, given the fact that we're dealing with city business, privacy is not a concern in all this public record.
Yeah.
Unless someone's speaking.
Mr. Chair, I was just trying to make sure you're warning, so I'm seeing two ways you could look at it. One could be you want them to get notice so that they would, A, know something's being done, and B, maybe they want to testify. The only negative side, it's kind of what you were saying, Madam President. It is a public record. But if you were to give everyone notice and you had a recalcitrant owner or whatever, somebody that was causing trouble, and they knew everyone was getting noticed, they may go put undue pressure. I want you to come testify for me. And then that causes even more strained relations.
How? That don't even make any sense. I'm hearing what Malcolm's saying. He's saying, let them know that this is happening to this property, because you know why? Because the councilmen get calls about blighted property all the time. That's what he's saying. So why can't you let the neighbor know? What's wrong with that? The neighbor knows they can get the property. I never thought about it in that sense. Because that's what it sounds like. Why wouldn't you let, and it, like he said, city business is public. It's not private. You can't, that's not nobody's private business. When your house is next door to trees and trees falling on the house, it's not the same. And her sitting there saying, she's saying that people already do call and follow up. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. There you go. There you go. They already got somebody in mind. That's right. That's why Exactly. That's why he doesn't want everybody or the neighbor to know that it's there. Yeah. We ain't. Yeah. They got another agenda on it. For him to jump in and say that, that says a lot. Okay.
I don't know the answer to that. I'm saying one could make an argument either way. That the giving of the notice to neighbors would then maybe put them in the crosshairs of
Well, if I may make a comment to that, state public record law does contain an exemption for people who make code enforcement complaints. I don't know if people know, it's not very well known, but you can't call the city and say, hey, he ratted me out. The city will say, well, you're on our radar now. We went and looked ourselves and it doesn't matter. So the city will be the city bringing the case.
Well, that's kind of what he knows.
Exactly. Yeah.
You could, even if you got around that exception, you could post it. I don't know.
I think I'm overthinking it.
That's all right.
When you post the notice to the house, is it like a red paper or something?
Well, we haven't developed how that yet. Typically, it would be just a copy of whatever they would have sent to them in the mail that would be affixed to the house. Now, a lot of these buildings already probably have an uninhabitable placard that this administration developed in order to let people know, let unhoused folks or anyone else know that they're not supposed to be there because it's not safe or there's not utilities as a mild deterrent. A lot of times those people don't.
Or an
have
invitation
legal.
to move in.
Yeah, well,
Right, well.
this of course, this is another tool in the toolbox, and we think it's an important one, so we appreciate it.
Do we have any idea where these hearings will be held?
Now, let me say something real quick, y'all, real quick. Now, they already have blighted property. This is what I just thought about. They already have blighted property that they have not even done anything with. They haven't finished touring. Now, I think this should be, if you're going to do this, get rid of the property that's already sitting there. You haven't even finished tearing down all the property that's already there. Now, if some new property comes up that's blighted, that has not gotten put on a list or whatever, then I can see them creating this, maybe creating this. But it's just so weird that they want to create this right now. When you
want to create something that's already on the books to be done.
Yeah, if it's already done its price, if you've already gone through the process, and maybe he's talking about new property that comes up, but you guys haven't even finished tearing down the blighted property that's already there.
They already have.
That don't make any sense. That don't make any sense.
No.
So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, because it just don't sound right. I mean, you haven't even taken care of the blighted property that you have now. And I don't know if y'all remember, but we talked about it on the show a long time ago, where Mr. Fuller had to force him to put money on the books to add more money to tearing down the properties, because at one time he didn't even care about the properties. They had $30,000 set aside to tear down property in the city of Alexandria. It was Mr. Fuller, Mr. Green, I think Mr. Porter. They came together and put it on the agenda and voted for them to put it wound up being $70,000. I think, yeah, close to $70,000 put in the funds, in the capital funds, the budget, so that they could tear down the rest of it. Because for a long time, Jock Roy or Jeff was not putting any money toward tearing down blighted property. They didn't even care about the blighted property at all. So now, all of a sudden, it's a problem. And you know what? People were complaining back then, too, about the blighted property. And they didn't do nothing about it because Mr. Fuller had to tell them that they were getting complaints. And that was the reason why they added more money to the budget so they could tear down more houses. But they weren't thinking about tearing down houses even before Hall got in there. That wasn't a priority. Because you know why? Because it was in the Black neighborhoods. That's why.
Not at this time.
We have to develop.
My lean would be, because of the equipment here and what I'm about to spend, because I can't take it anymore, we gotta fix it, even my breathing, we gotta get this right. This is a great room for it, obviously it could be set up to be that, but if you didn't want that for any reason, we can talk about that offline, or online.
And yeah, and something we'll recommend.
We
is-
could outfit, Bolton could be outfitted, there's a few of the community centers that could easily be outfitted to modularly have it set up for that day and move it out, like have that equipment back and forth. Obviously, because of the cameras here, you could make a full record of everything. And you could pick it on a day that's least inconvenient to anything that we do. But if you don't want the extra security and other measures you may have to take, to the extent you do, I'm not sure you do, but whatever they are, we could entertain something else.
And,
Are
and
these hearings open to the public?
Yeah, that's all
They would
public
be
record.
public record. And, well, and so some jurisdictions during COVID in Louisiana, they really upgraded their, the telecommunications software. So a lot of these places will allow people to appear virtually. If you got a Zoom, you can do it by link. That's something we would
do have the
look
courthouse,
at.
the city court, that's the cities, we'd have to be a lot to work out on if you could. And there's probably some hearing space at the 9th JDC, we might could cooperatively endeavor with.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
Well,
Well,
in the old,
we'll work it out. It's about convenience. This
the
isn't
old
about.
police jury part, if they haven't, I don't know what that status of that is, but I don't know.
Yeah, we would, and look, we would want, the purpose is to get people in and get them compliant. It's not a gotcha, it's not a kangaroo court. So we would want to do things that would be most accessible, I
So
would
we still
think.
got some more eyes
Yeah.
to cross.
Yes, sir. But this is the first step, is getting this ordinance in place.
Can always be amended.
That's true. And a lot of this will be done by policy or procedure.
Right, it seems like a lot of the procedural things would come later.
And so these are
We may want to have some guidance with LJ, like on a first visit by someone. You should consider, you don't want to tell the judge, you don't want to say, you must, the one of sentencing
I
guidelines.
can't hear a word you saying.
It may be on a first visit to the court.
Okay,
If
hold
someone
on.
presents these
You gotta
things.
talk to the talk up. Yeah, go ahead, talk.
Yeah, I don't want to yell. So, is this?
Okay, I hear a lot of noise. I can't hear what you're saying. Okay. All right, now what was you saying? That's Sattler. That's the lawyer Sattler. That's Kay Miguel and Jock Roy. They're talking to Malcolm. That's spelled. That's Kay Miguel.
No, not her. That wasn't her talking. That was somebody else. That was at least
Yeah, that was Felcher. Yeah.
Okay, so first off, I don't trust it. That it's being talked. There's no reason to trust it. They don't say no wrong. They've already got something in mind. They have properties from in mind.
Mm-hmm.
They're ready to take over.
That's what Miss Summer said. That's exactly what Miss Summer said.
She is right. So this is for Sarah to get up there and say some, y'all plug out there some stupid shit like this ain't okay. Or that's exactly what you say. This is my problem. But it is capable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is capable. That's what they're trying to do. And so Malcolm brought this idea. Jock saw hearts in his little eyes, and he started doing a little cartoon. He started doing what I did right out the back.
Can you talk louder?
I can hear it.
Yeah, but you're there. You're on the same line with him. That's why we can hear. Okay, so you got to talk up. Sir, you're talking to people on the what's the name on the show, so you have to speak up.
Do that on my show. So yeah, this is I can read the closed caption. It's coming through all right. Yeah, I don't trust any of them. Nah, I don't trust it. I don't trust K-Mike and I, especially. Didn't these two run against each other?
I said that earlier. You weren't. I was trying to get earlier. I already said that. Yeah, they ran against each other, and when she lost, she started working for the city. And like I said, there's 4 lawyers up there. You got Malcolm, you got Jock, you got her, and that's a lawyer standing there at the podium. Those are all lawyers. And
And they're having a conversation about adjudicated property. And Lizzie Felter, who is known for, wasn't there a big deal about her home being a historical property? Didn't she? I don't want to look out here. I should have did this. I don't want Lizzie Felter talking about a goddamn thing having to do with property, the way she just gerrymandered and redistricted herself out of
yeah,
what she properly is. I don't want Lizzie Felter having any conversations about property, whether it's a
Why they not talking about that?
Why are we not talking about that?
well,
Why
that's
is Lizzie Felter talking?
because Tavares, she's part of the legal affair committee. This is in the legal affair committee meeting.
She needs to shut up. Lizzie, you need to shut up. Play that role. Pull that bit of
Okay, hold up.
The ALJ shall consider the following factors. If the city admits that this is their first time, they haven't not complied before, et cetera, they may get customarily an additional time. But you always have to be careful what you write in is then the policy for all, and it makes it harder for there to be discretion. So you can overwrite that over things.
Yeah.
You have to figure through that.
There is a safeguard like that is in the ordinance, and that's that even though the state statute, like a lot of things, you see this all over, every day is its own separate violation, so daily fines. It does require a subsequent hearing. The way we've written the ordinance is that that daily fines can't kick in the first time they show up. It would have to be, they would have had this reset or an initial small fine and they didn't comply, and then they bring them back, and that's when you would maybe
Now,
hit them with something more substantial.
I want to say the fines are assessed.
Okay, hold up. Okay.
Can there be
Now, what? Go ahead.
Did you hear what he said? Like, we've written the ordinance.
Yeah, yeah. So they tell on themselves all the time when they do stuff. So he said they already wrote up an ordinance. So it must be an ordinance already in place.
They're just waiting to use it.
So as you're talking low. Everybody else is talking loud and clear. You're the only one way.
I think that's what it is.
Miss Agnes,
Yes,
I hear you loud and clear.
yes.
Okay.
Hear him. I hear him loud and clear.
And Miss Lynn, she on mute. But Miss Summer was talking earlier. Hello. And I can hear you loud and clear. But he's the only one, we can hear him, but he sounds way far away.
I'll tell you what, we on the street. We on the street.
All you gotta do is call in. Oh, knucklehead. Like I told him to do in the first place. Okay. All right. So let's see here what they say. Okay. Let's see. Correct. Okay. It says those properties can also cause issues for neighbors like rodents and fallen trees. Exactly. You're right. I can't hear him at all. That's what I was trying to tell him. Yeah, I can't hear you. See? What Dizzy Lizzie doing up there? Oh, because she's part of the, that's the same question Tavares asked. She's part of the legal committee. And like Tavares was saying, I know you guys couldn't hear him. He's coming on. The ideal that she shouldn't have anything to say about any property, period. Simply because, let me put him up there. There we go. There we go. Tavares?
Yeah, hello.
Okay.
Can you
She
hear me
shouldn't
or
have
not?
anything to say about anything
Hello.
because she gerrymandered a lot of people out of their district. You understand what I'm saying? So can y'all hear Tavares now that he's on? I don't see his thing moving at all. I can't. Yeah, I can't. His Tavares, say something. Okay. The kids are out of school. Ain't nobody listening to her. Oh boy.
Hello.
I don't hear Tavares at all. His thing is not moving, so I don't know what. Can you guys hear him?
He's not on right now.
No, he's in the link. So I'm trying to he's on the screen. So I don't know. He's got to come back in again because I didn't hear him at all. His thing, his what's the name wasn't moving. Let me know if you can hear Tavares when he comes back on. Not you, Pumpkin. I'm talking to them in the chat.
Yeah.
If he comes back on. But his internet has been acting up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Now talk so we can see if my screen is moving back.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Okay. Keep on talking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to curse.
Okay.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? I'm sorry I couldn't.
Yeah, I can't hear him either, but that's all right.
Hello.
We don't need to hear him.
Hello.
Okay. I want to make sure everybody can hear him.
Well,
okay. Go ahead and talk to Tavares.
Well,
let me see if I can hear him.
Boy, this some BS.
There we go.
Now, hello?
Okay, keep talking, Tavares.
What are we doing here?
Okay, go. Yeah.
What are we doing here?
We want to make sure we can hear you, sir.
Ma'am, you're listening to me on the playback. You need to be listening to me. You know what? Never mind.
We want to make sure we can hear you, sir.
Ma'am, you're listening to me on the playback. You need to be listening to me. You know what?
No, that's all right.
Okay.
Hello, Miss Tamra. Okay, she says she can hear. Good. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, Tavares, they can hear you, Pumpkin.
Yeah, but you listening to me on the playback, and that's not even a good conversation because there's like a good 6-second delay. So
okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really
okay. Tavares, the reason why I was playing is so that I can hear you because the way I have it set up in front of me, I can't hear you unless I turn it. Okay, anyway. Now, what was you going to say, Tavares? Okay.
It's you said that they have something already planned.
Yes. If they have ordinance in their back pocket, she called Pumpkin. She didn't call Pumpkin.
No, I called you Pumpkin. They were listening. Yeah, I was.
So, yeah, they got something in their back pocket.
Yeah.
They got something. They're waiting for Malcolm to push this through.
Mm-hmm.
So they can pull whatever they try to pull off. But let's
okay.
Let's see what now sounds this.
Yes, yeah. So go back on where you were at. I was trying. Okay. He's not listening to me. So.
I'll just watch the show. I'll be in the audience.
No, I want you to talk because they're listening to you. Well, you know what? You know what you can do? Do you really want to know what you can do? You want me to tell the audience what you can do? I'm trying to be nice.
Just go on with your show.
Excuse me? Who you talking to? Who you talking to?
Just do your show.
Okay. You better watch that tone. Anyway, he sounds far away. Stepping. You wrong for that, Gregory. He sounds far away. Step into the light, Carolyn. You are so crazy. You are so crazy, Gregory. Talking about step into the light, Carolyn. Tavares, they want to hear you. That's why they're saying come back into the room. No, if you don't get back on here live, Tavares. No. Tavares. I asked. Tavares. I'm gonna say Tavares one more time.
It's not gonna help you.
So I think you should do what I asked you to do. At this very moment, go back in there and let them hear you talk. Now. I don't need to hear. You don't, Pumpkin, just do it. She said they need to hear your analysis. Your analysis, they need to hear it. He's gonna pay for that. He's gonna come back on there, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna go ahead and play it while he's coming back on there. Let's see here.
There's something wrong with this Wi-Fi.
Good evening. Good evening. So let me go ahead and finish playing it while he comes.
Yes, okay, absolutely. So this is really a key. This is why this tool is important to supplant the condemnation ordinances with, in my opinion. So in a situation with a condemnation, the city hires a construction company to go demolish it, and we get the bill. That is a bill that's like services rendered. You can't just negotiate that, otherwise you run into the Article 7 problem. However, I mean, if you're in a situation where the hearing officer has levied some fines, that's more like you're over in court where the DA, so to speak, the prosecutor of the city can say, hey, look, I mean, yeah, you got hit with this fine, but if we can get it done in the next 60 days, we'll cut it in half. New Orleans has a lien reduction program that is exactly for that, sort of a sticks and carrots approach. So these types of fines are absolutely can be waived or reduced because it's not money the city has spent that it's trying to recoup. So you don't run into that same Article 7 problem.
You understand that? I mean, lawyers,
There's more flexibility with it, for sure.
If we spend it, it's hard to forgive it because of Article 7. If we hadn't spent it, it's fine.
That's right.
So are there any other cities in Louisiana that have implemented something like this?
Basically, every other city our size or larger has this type of ALJ system. Yeah, and other places will do it for zoning. There's we would have to go to the legislature for that, or they would do it for more property violations, historic district ordinances, like in the French Quarter. Right now, the city's asking that it be primarily for fire code and for blight.
We wanted to get it set up,
right?
Work the kinks out, then come to you guys next year, and maybe somebody brings a bill for us to add that. We just thought, let's test this one out.
I think anything to help encourage people to take responsibility for their properties.
you know what, y'all? I hear what Tavares is saying. I really do now. I get what Tavares is saying. She really shouldn't be sitting up there making no remarks about property. She shouldn't at all. She changed the doggone property line. Yeah. So she really shouldn't be sitting there saying a doggone thing about anybody's property because of her gerrymandering. Period. Oh, there he goes. Okay, you can speak.
Hello?
You guys are not going to be able to hear him over here because it's on the screen. Okay, so don't if you don't hear anything. Okay. Oh boy. Oh Lord, that's funny. He said you call him pumpkin again.
You sure did.
Yeah, and that's why she shouldn't have anything to say, you guys. That's why I have an issue. And for her say anything, Tavares, go ahead. I can't hear him say. It's not moving, so I don't know if he's saying anything. Tavares, you're not saying anything. We can't hear you. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me see what he says here. It says here, this tells me that her and Jock have been working on things like this for a minute. Yup, you right. Sure has. Yeah. Yeah. I have an issue with, oh, he said he's not. They're saying you're not saying nothing, Tavares.
No, you can't hear me. Your computer audio isn't, your computer audio isn't turned on to this website, to StreamYard. So you can't hear me, but they can.
Okay. I'm going to put y'all on mute for just a second. Okay, say something, Tavares.
Hello?
Nobody can hear you talk.
No, you're not going to be able to hear me because however you got your audio set up, you can't hear me. I can hear you. They can hear me. You can't hear me.
Okay, I don't know what you're doing.
See?
Okay, I don't know what he's doing. They can't hear. Okay, it says, okay, he says, we want to hear you though. He says, matter of fact, these are the people that were behind the gerrymandering. Exactly. That's right. They were behind the gerrymandering. You guys, earlier we said that he's having issues with his internet. So sorry if you guys can't hear him. It's not on me because he's there. He said you can't hear him because of how your audio is set up. Okay, whatever. Look, okay, whatever. Let him transcribe it this time. Anyway, just keep writing, Tavares, since you're saying has something to do with my audio. Okay, we'll leave it like that. But yeah, that's something to think about, y'all. The idea that they did have something to do, that crew, her and Jock, was part of that gerrymandering that happened, that took place. So yeah, that's something to think about. So let's get back to it.
Absolutely needed. Because I know in my neighborhood, when I go for a walk, it's like you see your neighbors, and then, white is so, we just have a huge problem with that.
Yeah.
Hurts me to see our city looking like that, and just people that don't take responsibility, and the people that do take care of their homes and their properties and their businesses, they suffer because of these things.
Oh my God, y'all. She shouldn't have opened up her mouth at all. She shouldn't have said a damn thing. I'm sorry. She shouldn't have opened up her mouth. She shouldn't even be, she should have excused herself from this meeting. That's what she should have done. She should have excused herself from this meeting. How dare her? Hey, Nat, how are you, Nat? I'm doing fine. Talk as loud as you can. My setup is not to the standards of Tavares's, so please stand. You hear? Okay, long as you know. Don't get smart either. Okay.
If we don't see as black people what's going on, they clearly telling you that you don't have no respect for Negroes.
Yep. Exactly.
They're doing gerrymandering behind the president.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Went behind their back to try to get the bond stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're black. I don't have to ask you.
Yep.
You see, and when you got a mayor that's steady doing this, why should he still be in office?
Yeah, exactly.
See, because he clearly don't give a damn what Malcolm thinks, George Green thinks, Cynthia Perry thinks, or Roosevelt. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are they even in office if he's gonna keep on doing stuff like this?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody needs to put a check on it and stop it and say, hey man, you can't do this what you're doing. We're tired of what you're doing. You see, so it has to come to an end one day. And I don't know if it's gonna come to the polls and stuff like that, but trying to get $100 million. Yeah, do them like they did last time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was saying, I don't know if you heard what we were saying about Lizzie even having anything to say about anybody's property when she gerrymandered people out of their area. She shouldn't even be up there saying anything.
Well, see, because it's like this. How to say it? It's cool to be black as long as you're playing.
Yeah.
You see, because she got a lot of black friends. And, well, we just black friends. I'm not going to invite you to my dinner table. Yeah, we just friends.
That's right.
And see, the black people got to understand what's going on. And what's going to happen is, you know, the more they do this, we just get so lax until they just keep on doing it.
Yep. That's right. They're going to keep on doing it. That's right.
I'm listening now.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I see it's a big filter. You have most people doing the right thing. Then you have some people that need to get a letter, do the right thing, and some people that need a hearing date. Some people that need to be brought in and get that reset. And some people are just not either able or willing to do it. And those are the folks that you may end up.
But the city they're actually demolishing a lot of these houses. I mean, on our Sunday ride, you know, especially in the Sony quarters, we're seeing a lot of houses are being demolished.
Yeah, and that's thanks to Mr. Fuller and the rest of them that put money in it, because your mayor right there did not want to put any money in the budget so that they can tear down them houses. That's the reason why you might be seeing more houses being torn down. Excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry.
Demolished in that area. And so I think, that's a good
That's
thing.
correct. Yeah,
So
yeah,
give
so
y'all
give y'all
a way better
tool.
tool. They have a record page. It's just a whole bunch of process that helps everybody.
And hopefully hopefully some of these will be caught before it would have to get through condemnation, or it would encourage more people to take care of it on their own, so the city's not paying money and chasing it through a lien.
So what I wanted to add first of all, notice this might be that a number of houses demolished. We are starting to try to come up with so we'll look at things and create impact by not just what has there, what else there, but trying to clean up the area. So we did kind of focus on that area this past year. Other policies and kind of make a greater impact. But remember the hearing agency that we talked about is blighted houses. What we want to do, that we talked about the other day, is go to the legislature next year, where we can have
That static is not me. That's channel. That's channel 4.
Stop the people. Stop the if not it's not it's not like it, and it's not regular population, but it violates the housing code. And so we could bring them in, try to make that routine before it gets to the point of being truly blighted and abandoned. Where you have a neighbor that parks a pond in front of their house and it violates the zoning code. And you can't get them to you can bring them to the hearing house and enforce the zoning code. It's much more difficult because of the court procedure. You can get it efficiently and effectively through this process. So we do have to expand our options through legislation next year.
Do you feel that if we implement this without the private law, we'll be able to get more bang for the buck that we're spending now as far as condemnation?
Absolutely, because you notice now, all we are condemning are residential properties. We've only done a couple of commercial, and that's because, like we discussed, it's so expensive to demolish a commercial property. That would eat up, if you do 2 or 3, it would eat up a whole.
Okay, so Tavares is saying echo. You know what, Tavares? It might be an echo on there. Yeah. So what you can do is, let me not say that out loud on here, on live, because I might say something crazy. Since my setup is not like his setup, it might be echoing. Okay, that could be a possibility. All right, so deal with the echoing. Okay, if it's so irritating, take your behind home. That's how I feel about it. Now, what you got to say to that? Anyway, I think they're spending too much time on it.
So we're going to really focus initially on commercial properties with the hearing agency, and try to get some of those commercial properties taken care of.
Wherever she's sitting at, that's where all that static is coming from.
Sit down with the chair, look at that list, and the administration will sponsor those amendments at first time when they're ready. If it's next council meeting, we'll present them. If it takes 2, whatever we need to do, we concur with Mr. Lawverdane.
I just sick and elderly
Yes, sir.
and the mill infirm, we need to really make some accommodations
Okay.
for for those.
Just want to think through sort of how that would fit in. And
Which thing, Mr. Fowler?
and Mr. Gist, there was the one more technical amendment right at the beginning in the definition section of blighted property. Of course, it's our luck that the legislature would change that during the process when we're bringing it to you. So there was a citation that we're just asking to be changed to as provided by Louisiana law. So that's already, okay. Thank you for that. I just want to make sure it was mentioned out loud.
No, man.
That doesn't have to be voted. If that's so, does that have to be voted on? Or
Oh, no, we call him Jack Frost. Are y'all still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
just be voted on when they do it?
Okay, thank you.
It was after Daniel wrote this several weeks ago, the legislature came last week and changed it again.
So rather than chase their new statutory norms, what they're
Donna and I
saying.
have already made that correction. That's on page
Exactly.
3, the definition of blighted property.
Okay.
The committee can recommend the technical amendments.
Okay.
With universally by staff, they might have a different order, and I'll be brief about, I'll tell you what that is, but here would be my order. The market is optimum, obviously. That doesn't exist for the reasons we talked about. A market cannot drive all housing. People who are full-time employed, dedicated in their lives, right now are having a tough time getting a house and buying it and living. So that's, you can debate on why that is, and I'm not here to talk about that, your politics on that. I would just say it is a fact that that is true. So the first thing we would look at is home ownership is best. So where we have public dollars that we either receive federally or in conjunction with our own, we look at how we can help home ownership. It is where staff will disagree with me, is how difficult it is to stand up, as they have tried, any project where you deploy dollars into people fixing up homes who are often renting them. You can't get the right incentives. You can't plug it in. So it's tough for housing to be built for ownership with all the things that go in it. But for me, that would be
Okay. Now, I want y'all to remember this. Listen. Y'all remember Mr. Porter? Remember what Mr. Porter did? Didn't Mr. Porter ask Hall to give him $3 million to build homes? Y'all remember that? So now it's hard. Did you hear what he just said? It's hard. So let's see here. Let's see. It says, so they asking GIS what needs to be added to an ordinance. Yes, that's what they were saying. Yes. I'm sorry I went through it because they were adding stuff on that ordinance before they, oh, I hear what you're saying, Tavares. I get what you're saying. They're creating an ordinance in it instead of it being something they could suggest. I got you. It says, this is the team of ordinance authors who write for Fowler, Felton, Ballard. Exactly. Definitely. That's right. He's the one who does it. That's right. So he was just basically saying just now, he was basically saying that the same program that Mr. Porter got turned down from, he's talking about it now, but he's talking about it from his quote unquote. This is what I would, or this would be my ordinance. This is what I would do. So again, this is about what they're planning on doing. Okay, keep that in mind. There are 4 lawyers right there. You're right. It sure is. You're right. It sure is.
optimum every time. I would want that to be my first. In talking to you as individuals, I said it in my briefing, I'll say again, I think that is the majority of you, if not for sure, probably the case that that's your number one. Followed closely by a mixed income, market-driven townhouse style of home. So now you're talking about rents, but you're talking about bigger places, maybe a little contained yard, a patch of grass to put your pit and all your things to make it a real home. Some kind of nicer townhouse level situation.
So we're going to keep doing this project looking thing because he's describing what the housing looks like over in what's the name, right? Isn't that what Carl's Park look like now? Tell me if I'm wrong. Isn't that what Carl's Park look like now, Tavares? Can you hear me, Tavares? Okay. I guess he'll answer me in a few minutes. Tavares, come back over here on in the chat. Can you come back over in the chat? He says no, he's describing something more upscale. But Carl's Park has townhouses. Hey, come back over here in the chat. Get back on the inside the messenger. Come back over here. Because I want you to say something. Let me see if he can come back over there. So is it for rent? He said for rent, or is he saying for, let me go back and listen to it again.
Situation that you can rent. So a mixed income market, market-driven townhouse style of home. So now you're talking about rents, but you're talking about bigger places, maybe a little contained yard, a patch of grass.
Okay, so again, they're pushing renting. They're not talking about home ownership. Listen to what he's saying. They're not talking about home ownership. He's talking about renting. Those are rentals he's talking. Yes, that's what I said. That's rentals. They're not talking about home ownership. They're talking about renting something. Again, let's go back to when that guy came in for when he came down lower third, okay, and they were building those apartments down there, and the people down there said they didn't want any more apartments. They wanted to rent. He's going back to renting again. Hey, Tavares, come back over here in Messenger. He's talking about renting. He's not talking about ownership. So listen to what he's saying. He's talking about rentals because he don't want you to own nothing. But he's never interested in housing development unless it's benefiting him. Exactly. Y'all got to remember the mindset is to have everybody rent stuff. It's never about them owning it. You there? Okay. I was telling Tavares also to come over here. Pumpkin, come over here into the doggone chat. You're getting on my nerve now. But he has never, he's never, because you hear what he's describing. He is describing rentals. He doesn't want you to have a house. See, ownership means that there's a legacy behind ownership. He doesn't want you to own anything. Okay, talk. Hello?
Yeah, no, I'm you got me doing too much yelling, and I'm not with that. And they can't hear it. However you got it set up, they can't hear it, and it's a distraction. So I'm doing better chat.
Who can't hear, Tavares?
They can't hear what we're talking about on chat or Messenger. They can't hear that on the air. They can barely hear it because whatever you got us playing through, going to the microphone, they can't hear it. It doesn't translate.
Okay, but he's okay. So let me ask, can they hear you now? Because Miss Agnes is loud, Miss Linda's loud. I don't know what the deal with you are.
No, they're loud to you because you have them on speaker.
I can hear you.
Whatever you're talking into the microphone that you're using,
that's
not. We can't hear you on the show. We can't hear the people on the phone. We can't hear them on the show too well.
Okay. He said, I can hear you. He says he can hear us. Gregory said he can hear us.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm listening, but if he can hear it, he can hear it.
Just stay where you at.
So if you got us on speakerphone, you got to put us closer to the microphone.
Okay. I got you close to the microphone.
Can I say the N-word?
What you want to say, Tavares? No.
I just want to say it over and over again. That's it.
No, you can't say it over and over again. Do you hear this?
Well,
do you?
Well, here's the moral of the story. The only time Jock is ever interested or invested in developing any type of housing situation, whether it be whatever it is, it's only when it benefits Jock and the developers that come out there to do the building.
Yep. Exactly.
If there's, and see, this sounds like grants.
He said
this sounds like a perfect excuse for him. He's not gonna do it unless he can skim something off the top.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's the long and short of it. He's not gonna do it unless there's something in it for him. Lizzie just needs to shut up. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm just shocked. I just realized when you made that comment that her behind's even on this doggone what's her name. When she gerrymandered people out of their areas. When I
also, Trey Gist, that Sadler asshole, that Miguel's lady, and Jock, those are the ones that write the ordinances for Fowler and Villard now, and Lizzie. Those are the ones when those racist ass pseudo racist ordinances come through that city council that they want to add to the agenda, and it comes from Villard. Those are the ones that were behind the bond renewal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm not saying that they're racist. I'm saying that the people involved are all white. I'm saying that the people that are stealing the money, the people that are trying to cover Jock ass, the people, look, where's Jonathan Goins at now? Where's the other black guy? How come he's not sitting there?
But that's the legal, what's the name?
What I'm saying is,
I got
he
you.
only uses them for optics.
Yeah.
The real dirty work is done by these assholes.
That's right. You're right. You're right, Tavares. They got to, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, that's who does the real dirty work. He uses Jonathan Goins like a puppet, and the other asshole, he uses him like a puppet. But all this real dirty work is done by Trey Gist, him, Mike Els, and Sadler. Those are the ones that really do all of the evil, mean shit to black folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we're not supposed to say that, but like I said, it's weird. It's weird that we're not saying that they're racist. He's got two groups of people. When he wants to trick black folks, he uses Jonathan Goins and he uses Gary Johnson. When he wants to utilize the power of the pen, he goes through them, and they come up with a plan together. So really, who's in control in this moment? Even though it's Malcolm's meeting, he's still in the minority because it's only him and it's only Cynthia up there. Everybody else around them are sharks.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to control the narrative. They're trying to dictate to Malcolm what the terms of what his idea should be. And that's why Jock has so much to say. But Jock, we see you. We heard that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
To put your pit and all your things to make it a real home. Some kind of nicer townhouse level situation that you can rent. So we're not talking 60, 70, 80 units. You're talking about 30s. of units, that kind of thing. LEED certified, hopefully, security, all those things in it. This is me again. I'm not speaking for everybody. My next one would be, again, mixed income as much as you can, still market-driven apartments. And then finally, other models. Pejoratively, people, I guess they say low income. It used to be even more pejoratively Section 8, named for this particular section in the law. Those things that are riskier or have associated risk, let's call it, would be at the bottom of that order. But let me say, they're needed. You have to have it. They're just in that order of, that tends to be more directly federally funded. We don't.
So again,
he put the poor people at the bottom, and he just told you that.
Yep. I don't know.
He just told you that. We put the poor people at the bottom.
The more
they're
riskier.
Not a priority.
He
they're
said
not a priority.
He said the more riskier. So he's talking about building more apartments. He didn't say anything about home ownership. Not one thing about home ownership. He said
he's talking about putting poor people last. That's what he's always done.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take care of them first, because it's more of them than it is of others. You made it that way. You should know that. Everything that he's done has made sure that it takes advantage of poor people. And you know how many there are. They're the majority of the people in the city.
Mm-hmm.
You set it up that way. So why would you put them last? Oh, that's right. Because you want to use this taxpayers' dollars to pull this other shit off. But when it comes to poor people, you want to use federal dollars.
I can't get over the idea that they want to do. He didn't say about home ownership. That's what's bothering me. You're talking about turning your city into a whole bunch of apartments in the areas like districts 1, 2, and 3 when you get rid of the blighted property.
He's talking about gentrifying that shit.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. This is the doctrine of gentrification. It's just being wrapped up in a nice bow. And it's used nice words. K. Mike else can give a goddamn about none of them people that he's talking about. And that's why they were mentioned last. But there's development money in that. So they're going to make a profit off of it anyway. But yeah, I'm interested to see where this is going.
Those have their own organizations, housing authorities. So that's not our bag, really, even though we need to provide support, security, and other things. So that's how I look at my own order. I think that's close to the chairs. I don't know that. But if there's guidance to give us, we can recraft that plan.
I'll be giving it to you. And I got a question. We get Brownsfield dollars, right?
Yes.
What are we doing with our money?
Somebody got there. What's the name?
We're doing with our Brownsfield. We're
Yes.
doing, gosh.
The
Well, we're doing the Russia's cleaners for one, and we're doing a lot of testing. But we have some money that we can kind of play around with to look at and do some studies for redevelopment of brownfields and that sort of thing.
So
Specifically, it depends on how the grant was written, and our grant was written several years ago. Do you have some?
I'm just asking, like, I know we get those dollars.
We do.
Are any of those dollars being used? Yeah, I know all the chemicals. Yeah.
It can't be used to create housing. Now, if you had a developer that wanted to develop on some property that needed an environmental study, you could do your phase 1 and your phase 2. We used it to do the phase 1 and phase 2 on Russia's cleaners, on Weiss and Goldring, and other buildings. And
Rustin found you.
Oh, That's the trick. Weiss and Gold Ring is contaminated.
According to them.
Weiss and Gold Ring is contaminated.
That's what she just said.
And they're using Brownsfield dollars to fix. They've already invested in it.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's why you got to watch what's done in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
What's done in the dark is going to come to the light. I hope, look, I hope Weiss and Gold Ring, you know how they blow up those buildings and implode them and tear them down?
Yeah.
That's what I pray happens to Weiss and Gold Ring. I'm going to write Santa Claus a wish list, and the first thing I want is Weiss and Gold Ring destroyed and have all the rubble cleaned up, and they can put a garden there.
They have to really, they're going to have to put something around there if they do that, because it is considered contaminated, according to them. Now, that's according to them.
That's what I hope happens to Weiss and Gold Ring. They've done a huge disservice to the taxpayers of Alexandria, all the secretive backroom deals and all this lying and stuff they've been doing. And then when the second you catch them, they look at you like, I wasn't lying. I didn't lie. See, we did this and then we did this. And then all of a sudden there's all this evidence and paperwork that they said these steps. Nobody ever knew they used Brownfield's dollars for Weiss and Gold Ring. Nobody ever knew that till just now.
Nope. Never came out in nothing.
Mind you, we got a Brownsfield site right across the street from Bethel Apartments.
Mm-hmm.
And we have several in our communities.
Wow.
But they're spending the money on Weiss and Gold Ring and Rush's Cleaners.
That's interesting.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. I trust it. I trust you, Jock. I trust you with the future of the city and the citizens' tax dollars. I trust you.
He just told y'all that he took some of that money from Brown. I wish Miss Agnes was on here. Brownsfield money that they got and used it on Weiss and Gold Ring. That was the first time that was ever said.
They said the quiet part out loud.
Yes. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Calling it along with the Superfund site it had. That was a second.
That was an
old.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, so you came and said, these are two things in my district. These are two buildings. I think I know one you'd identify. If you came and said that, then they can go look at that specific one and think about how to write around it.
Okay. Well,
but that's not housing necessarily, but
okay.
Brownfields would be for more.
Well, I know you guys are doing your homework, and I'm also doing my homework. And I expect us to be meeting in the days to come to craft a policy that addresses a lot of concerns in the city. I want people owning homes. You know, I mean, everyone should get a chance to own a home. And it doesn't have to be a large home, but just a modest, basic home. So that's very, very important to me. I think we can look at the possibilities of container homes, certain modular homes, certain tiny homes. You know, there are a lot of options out there as opposed to just a traditional stick building. And I think we need to really be very flexible and open to any other options out there that are cost effective. So
No disagreement. So again, for me, you can see some of the disagreement and stuff. Kay probably has a different feeling than I do about that particular one. I'm number one on home.
Now, how are you going to holler you number one on home ownership when you just sat there and put together a plan?
You just put Section 8 at the bottom.
Yeah, and then look at Kay Miguel might have a different. Who gives a crap what her doggone opinion is? Who cares? You ain't got to live in them.
She's not the mayor.
And she don't have to live in them. And see, y'all got to pay attention to how arrogant and how white supremacy works. How dare her sit up there and don't think that we deserve to live in homes too. That tells you a lot about her.
You guys got to do something about this administration. Y'all got to get them out.
Y'all got to get them out of there.
Because these people are not for the community.
Nope.
These people aren't for the people of districts 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-mm.
And the simple fact, see, it's killing Jock right now to have to negotiate or to even ingratiate anything that Malcolm is saying.
Yep.
It's killing him right now. Because he really wants this. He sees the development dollars and he sees the bigger goal of having that money being directed towards Weiss and Gold Ring. That's all he's seeing dollar signs right now. But it's killing him right now. And I'm so glad. Thank you, Brother Malcolm. Malcolm is yanking them out of their skin. He's giving them hope. And then he's closing the statement. He's closing the loop. Yeah, I heard everything you had to say. And it's all bullshit.
But we want home ownership.
I'm all about home ownership. That's really important to me. I heard all the shit you were talking about. Yeah, Weiss and Gold Ring is great. Cool idea, bro. But yeah, that's not what this is about. And you can see Jock like, well, Kay might disagree with me, but I agree with you. We have some. No, that's not what you were saying earlier, Jim.
That's not what you just explained. You just explained townhomes that they can rent because you said rent several times.
You said there was 2 classes of renters. First off, you said there was homes that they could buy. That's at the top of your list, but it's not as many. Then you said you wanted renters. And then underneath that, you said we need Section 8.
Yeah.
Which technically you do. However, it shouldn't be at the bottom of the list.
Exactly.
If it's the easiest thing to take care of, if it's the easiest thing to develop, because technically it is, why wouldn't you put that at the top of your list?
Well, why don't we do away with it, just like Malcolm said? I'm looking forward to people owning their homes. There's something about owning your home that means a lot.
And aside from that, like Mr. Porter was saying, we can do the tiny homes thing.
Sure can. Big major cities doing it now, big time.
And just like what let me tell you something about what Jock's not invested in. Jock's not invested in the Section 8 program that leads to home ownership, because that's what Section 8 was designed for, to lead you to home ownership.
That's right. Yep.
But that's at the bottom of his list. So I don't know. Jock's talking out both assholes, but continue.
You said that bad word.
That's my number 1 too. I do think when you get into modular, containerized, all kinds of other things, there are other hazards. They can be quite a nice sell to a community. They can involve chemicals in the usage of the material. There are lots of things that are, this practice is here and that one's there.
Oh my God. Do y'all hear this?
I mean, it's a good idea, but it might contain nuclear sludge. Some of the materials might be biochemicals that'll fall out from Chernobyl. It sounds good on the surface.
Oh my God.
But you have to really dig into it to find that there may be some hazards that would, some unforeseen things that I can't name right now. That, on the surface it sounds good, but I mean there may be some issues with it. As opposed to brick and mortar. Did he say containerized? Let me look that up real quick.
Wait a minute.
Because now I really feel like Jock do be up there making shit up.
Hold up.
But they all get the same.
To craft a policy that addresses a lot of concerns in the city. I want people owning homes. Everyone should get a chance to own a home. And it doesn't have to be a large home, but just a modest, basic home. So that's very, very important to me. I think we can look at possibilities of container homes, certain modular homes, certain tiny homes. There are a lot of options out there as opposed to just a traditional stick building. And I think we need to really be very flexible and open to any other options out there that are cost effective. So
No disagreement. So again, for me, you can see some of the disagreement and stuff. Kay probably has a different feeling than I do about that particular one. I'm number one on that's my number one too. I do think when you get into modular, containerized, all kinds of other things, there are other hazards. They can be quite a nice sell to a community. They can involve chemicals in the usage of the material. There are lots of things that are, this practice is here and that one's there, but they all get the same incentive treatment. And so you can be drunk with the idea of let's go get it, and it ain't the best idea for your community.
Well,
It also can affect where located, the values of other homes. And that is where you're going to get some push.
Oh, do you hear that? Listen to what he just said. Did you get what he just said?
Yeah, he doesn't want the container homes because it's going to affect the value of other homes.
But
and K. Miguel's is also against it.
Exactly. But y'all have to see. Do you know why I know that Jock is like not updated on what's going on? Because you create an area for just the container homes. They're not around regular homes.
No. He's not factually against container homes. They're not the priority. That's not the target of what he's trying to get accomplished in this round.
I know. He wants apartments. He wants to rent.
Yeah, I don't even think he just wants that. I think he just wants that money for that Weiss and Gold Ring building. You got to remember, how long is this? 43 minutes? Just an hour prior to this, he was going off about Gator.
Yeah.
And the Weiss and Gold Ring building.
Mm-hmm. Do you hear this man? When I'm telling you guys, the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because me and Mr. Porter did a whole report on container homes. We actually did a presentation at the city council about these homes when Mr. Porter was trying to push building home ownership.
And those the homes he was talking about building were part of another project. I don't even think those were container homes.
No, those weren't. No. Those weren't container homes. But prior to that, we did a presentation about container homes.
Ms. Jeannie Moran says, not to mention the containments and products that ROM produces, all in Black neighborhoods. But I must digress back to where I came from.
Wait a minute, what's she saying?
She's saying that you don't have a problem with the containers being in Black neighborhoods, but when you turn them into homes, it's affecting the property value.
There you go. 100%. Yeah. Ain't that something?
You don't have an issue with Stella Jones.
No, you don't. But everybody on that street behind Stella Jones, or is that right. Stella Jones?
Well, no. That's in generalities. We're just saying that you don't have a problem with the contents of those containers being pollutants in our neighborhoods, but the second that we try to turn that into homes for people and clean it up, now you got a problem with it.
Yeah, contempt. But it's mighty funny that they don't see you can create in those container homes. You can use materials that are not contaminated. That's what you don't get.
Those container homes are not. It's just steel.
Yeah, that's all it is. Well,
it's just steel.
When you put insulation, all you putting in there is insulation. That's all you're doing.
Nothing different. You're making a steel box into a home.
That's all.
That's it.
That's all you're doing.
That's it. That's all.
They're in Texas. There's places in Texas where they got them built on top of each other, and people love where they live at. So this the whole crap about, that's something you have to really. You got people living in blighted areas, and you're complaining about container homes. You're complaining about modular homes. when there's modular homes right there going toward on Overton Street, and it's a nice home. I've seen several of them that look very nice and very well taken, and it's on their property. It's their
No,
property.
he doesn't want the city's property to be used that way. He doesn't like, okay, for instance, he's not trying to have those things take place inside the city limits on property that the city owns.
But if the person buys, if it's
It
adjudicated,
doesn't matter. He doesn't want that on the property that the city owns.
That's crazy.
Just like over there at over there down 3rd. You see what they did. See, my thing about Jock is if you failed at it before, if you were a part of a failing team before, I don't want you touching it again. If you messed it up before and you didn't really mess it up, you accomplished the mission. That dead asshole Jerry Springer, what's his name?
Who?
Silver.
Yeah.
When he took the Hodges Stockyard project and they fumbled that on purpose. And then that they funneled millions of dollars to the developers and didn't do anything with the land.
Sure did. With the other stockyard, the
Hodges Stockyard, and they came back and said the reason why there's nothing here is because the community couldn't. The community told us not to put nothing there. That's not true.
That's not what they said. They wanted homes. They said we wanted homes there, and they
they didn't want homes. They wanted business there.
They wanted business and homes because they had
no. They didn't want homes. The only people that wanted homes was Jock and Silver.
No, Pumpkin. I got the paperwork. They wanted to put more apartments there because it's apartments sitting back there off that land.
They wanted Harry Silverman wanted the apartments.
Okay, you're correct. They wanted the apartments, and the people in the community wanted to buy homes. They wanted homes there and businesses.
No, the people in the community didn't want more homes.
No,
they wanted businesses there.
Tavares, you're talking to me, and I got the paperwork, black and white.
Ma'am, then I invite you to pull out the paperwork. You forgetting that I got a steel trap up here. What? I know for a fact those people did not want. They were against the homes. They didn't want any more homes over there. They wanted businesses. That was the purpose of their study. Remember when he made up that fake ass study and told them people down there that the what was it?
Okay. You talking about the PDQ store or that store that sits there? It doesn't matter what the name of the store was. It was a store.
Okay. Yeah, well, it does matter. Food Mart. Yeah. They said that Food Mart was an equitable food source, and that was all in the effort to avoid putting stores down 3rd.
Jock said that. That came strictly from Jock. What happened was they said they wanted, this is what the people said according to that paperwork. They wanted homes and they were supposed to build a shell out for stores to come in there, the businesses to come in there. They
didn't want homes, Mama. I'm trying to tell you, they didn't want more homes.
Yup, especially wanted a major grocery store. You're right, they did. They wanted, and they were supposed to build a shell for them to put the grocery store and other stores, a bank down there, or some other area. They were supposed to put like a miniature strip mall.
It was supposed to be a miniature strip mall. And when it came down to it, the developer cleared the land.
Yeah.
And the real problem came in because all they ever wanted to do was put another project-based housing there.
And they didn't want it there.
Did not want that.
Yeah, the community didn't want no more apartments.
They didn't want them. They wanted stores. And so what happened was nothing because they stopped the project.
Yeah, they packed up and left.
They packed up and left after getting paid.
Yep.
After getting paid, this is what happens in the Black community when Jock's involved. And that's why he's got to have, I don't understand why there's so many people involved in this conversation. Why is this piquing their interest that much?
Yeah.
Are they trying? And it's two reasons. They're either trying to get in on the get down, or they're trying to stop it.
I hope Malcolm don't fall for the okie doke. That's what
It don't sound like he falling for it. It sounds like he like I hope. Oh yeah, the option barn land. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
The Hodges Stockyard.
Yes, and the land is contaminated too.
It
by
sure
the way,
is. That's why they
that land is majorly contaminated. That's another brownfield site that needs to be taken care of. We got a lot of those in our community, but we're talking about Weiss and Gold Ring. We're talking about Russia's cleaners.
Yeah. If you want to do something, you can clean up that Hodges Stockyard. That's
if you really wanted to do something, that's definitely something you could do.
But you sitting up here disagreeing with the type of housing that our people gonna be living in, because your people ain't gonna be living in them.
I think he realizes how much it'll cost to clean that land up and put what the people want.
Well, you know what? He can lie like he did before and say that they cleaned it up until we
damn, I forgot about that. He did lie to the DEQ.
No, not to DEQ. He lied to EPA. It was EPA.
That's right. Jock did lie to the EPA
about the Ruston foundry.
Miss Latasha said, yeah, he's not. Malcolm ain't going. He sees through it. He's seeing through it. That's why. And look, this is an all hands effort. He's got his administration up there right now. He's got 4 lawyers up there. He got Sadler. He's got Miguel's. Is Lee Rubin the owners of that cleaners? No,
it's not Lee Rubin. He owns that. What was that place called?
No, he doesn't own the cleaners anymore. I don't think he does. He owns the one next to the Manor House.
Is it the Manor House or is it the what's the name? I thought it was the former Randall. I thought he owned Randall.
It's the cleaning place. Basically, they take in high risk hospital.
But he doesn't own it no more. I think he that person out of Texas bought it. Remember?
No, I think he still operates it.
Oh, okay.
I think they do other people's stuff now.
Okay.
He does hotel, motel, hospital type, like the bedding. He cleans that all over there.
Randall's. Somebody owned Randall's. I think he owned Randall's too.
I don't think Randall's is even open anymore.
It's not. His family, his kids were supposed to be taking over or something, but nobody's in that building no more. It's empty. On Texas Avenue.
So that looks like blighted property to me.
On Texas Avenue.
But yeah, this is an all hands effort. Y'all need to start like really getting ready to find you a new mayor, because he's campaigning his ass off right now.
You're going see, and this is what bothers me, and I want you guys to listen to what we're saying, because I want you guys to understand in the sense that now this is your guys' area. This is not where he lives at. K. Miguel doesn't live there. He's telling y'all what he wants in your areas, because when he's no longer the mayor, you guys are still going to be living there. So he's telling you what he wants in your area where you live at. Now, this conversation should be taken where everybody can hear what's being said. This is the type of information that you sit and talk at a town hall meeting and have that town hall meeting with that community that you plan on doing this with.
Well, technically, that is what's taking place, because Malcolm would be the de facto community.
Exactly.
That he needs to talk to. But Malcolm has pretty much forced him into having this conversation.
Yeah.
So let's see what else he's got to say.
Okay.
I can't stay on too much longer. I got a curfew.
That's pretty serious. Having said that, Mr. Chair, I understand your directive is be creative, be wide in the net for now. Let's get the widest look at we can with what people are doing and figure out what's best for our community.
And we have to look at our needs too, the needs of our community. And our funding for homes is actually some federal funding through HUD called Home Funds. And they are very, very restrictive. And we just need to have that conversation because.
Now, you heard what she just said. Because we're using federal dollars and it has to be something that HUD approves of.
Well, that shouldn't be too hard, right?
No, it shouldn't be, because it should be all just HUD. People have jobs, they work, they want a house. It's not only through HUD. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what I'm not understanding is what the fuck I'm sorry, what is she saying?
She's saying that because, you know, he mentioned the modular and the containment homes and the tiny houses. She's saying we have to look at what HUD approves of when it comes
We're
to
not
housing.
talking about HUD homes. We're talking about investment homes.
No,
we're talking about HUD.
She's talking about HUD.
Oh yeah, we're not worried about what she's talking about.
Yeah.
She's a nobody.
Yeah. That's what this
Yeah,
is.
we're not worried. Hey, my girl,
If
did nobody ask you? You okay?
If you living in these low income, that's what you need to live in. In other words,
she's trying to make sure we stay in low income.
That's there you go. That's exactly what she's trying to do. You're right.
Yeah, she's trying to make sure we stay low income.
You are so right. I want to check something real quick, you guys. I want to see what let's do this. I want to see something. I'm very curious about something about can HUD.
Yes, they can. Cut it out. You know it and I know it. Look up HUD Section 3.
That's not what I'm talking about.
HUD Section 3, HUD Section 3 directly relates to the development, community development.
That's not what I'm talking about, Pumpkin. Hold up.
What good is it to be an expert?
Give me a second, y'all. I'm trying to read something.
What's the question?
Hold up.
What's the question?
There's a question in my mind, not yours.
Yeah, but I mean, what question are you asking?
I'm gonna get it. Listen, just listen. I'm trying to find something.
Trying to find the answer to the question that you made up?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the question?
Okay. So HUD does do modular homes. Okay.
Not only does HUD do modular homes, HUD will compensate. Listen, HUD will compensate. HUD Section 3 will. Okay, so what they'll do is HUD Section 3 will make a way. They will fund the building of certain development within the community. And K. Miguel knows that. Jock knows that. Because if I know it, I know they know it. Oh. There's places that if you redevelop certain spaces for people that are low income, HUD Section 3 will cover the entire cost.
Not only that, while he's talking all that mess, HUD does approve tiny homes and manufactured homes. They'd have a program called HUD Manufactured Home Program.
And CK Miguel's is up there. But I don't know whose mother she is. I don't want to disrespect that old bag. But at the end of the day, we gotta stop letting these people trick us.
Yeah, you got to.
We got to.
We got to. Yeah. Yeah. So they can. So I want to let you guys know they do approve those. HUD does. See, she don't know what she's talking about, and you can tell she don't. But HUD they do approve tiny homes and manufactured homes.
You're missing what I'm saying. Not only do they approve them, They built them.
I know, Pumpkin. I'm just saying, I'm just doing I'm just letting that out so that people will know that at least that much.
They built them. They built them. I know personally of a HUD Section 3 project that includes the renovation of what kind of building was it? It's a huge building, right? And what they did was they used HUD Section 3 money to redevelop the insides of that building and bring it up to code, and they put apartments in those buildings.
Yeah.
And it was funded by, they had outside investors, but a majority of the cost was HUD Section 3 funds, not Section 8, HUD Section 3 funds.
It says, according to HUD, it says tiny homes built to HUD code may have fewer local regulations compared to site-built homes, but they still need to meet zoning and other local requirements. So yes, they can be built. Ain't that something?
Oh yeah, Miss Dixon, please don't judge me. I feel your judgment from over here. Don't judge me.
Oh Lord,
I didn't mean to call her an old bag, but that's what she looks like. She looks like one of those, those plastic shopping bags.
Yeah. And also it says tiny homes can be classified as a manufactured home.
Yeah, well.
So, and this is from HUD. This is not me saying it. This is from HUD. That's why I wanted to make sure people understand. So when you're listening to the bull crap that they're saying, you know that what they're saying is bull crap.
You know I'm a HUD Section 3 expert, right?
Oh gosh, no, Jesus. No.
I mean, I know that bothers people.
Yes, it bothers me to death.
I've read that section, and I've advocated for people becoming more aware of HUD Section 3, what it has to offer, because the fact that we're not discussing it, the fact that Jock is not discussing it right now is kind of a travesty. But of course he doesn't want HUD Section 3, because HUD Section 3 would mean that you'd have to hire people you wouldn't be able to turn down people that are low income from getting jobs.
Now, the container home, let's talk about that. It says HUD or the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development doesn't have a specific program for container homes, but it does regulate manufactured housing under the HUD code. So they already have something. They don't have one specifically for container homes.
If you have a container home and you want it to be inspected so it can be put on Section 8, they do make provisions for that.
It says in Louisiana, shipping container homes are allowed, but they must meet local and state building codes, which that wouldn't be a problem unless them people sitting up there at that desk will give you an issue when it comes to inspections and permits.
She says, so do you guys think that she's thinking there's no one even in La La Land that does not already know that or can find it out? How little does she think of us from our ivory tower? My. Yeah. They're trying to okey doke us. Man, let's see what else he got to say. I gotta go in about another 10 minutes.
Well, whatever. So also keep in mind with a container home, you can get a traditional mortgage or a FHA loan for those homes too.
So what that means is that home ownership, the trail to home ownership with the HUD Section 3 would be covered on. See, that's what I'm trying to keep saying. I'm saying it over and over again. HUD Section 3 specifically was designed to lead to home ownership. Literally, it was designed to lead to home ownership. That is the end goal. You know what? We got to do a refresher course on that.
Yes, we do. We definitely
we got to do a refresher course on HUD Section 3.
Yeah.
So I'll step down off my soapbox. but I will not relinquish it. So go ahead, please.
Okay. Oh,
I don't know if you could use those funds for example, container housing. I did meet with Ms. Perry the other day to talk about a situation in her district with the Bethel apartments, which they were built in the late 60s and they've served this community well for a very, very long time, but they've just really outlived their useful life. And HUD is foreclosing, that they've declared Bethel in default and they're foreclosing on that. There are a few tenants still there. They're trying to relocate those. Those are some of the lower end, low income housing. And we have a HAP contract for, I believe it's 94 units that's associated with that development. And we
Okay, time out.
can't afford.
go ahead.
The only reason that Bethel Apartments is in the condition that it's in is because of the failure on the part of the city of Alexandria's code enforcement. That's the only reason Bethel Apartments is in foreclosure, because the city of Alexandria's failure in their code enforcement, because the code enforcers weren't enforcing the code at Bethel Apartments. That's the reason why. Jock, you can't shirk that responsibility, sir. You were responsible for that. Your administration had something to do with that. You have a code enforcement office. You know how I know you have a code enforcement office, Jock Roy? Because Lizzie Felter's husband used to work for you. Maybe not for you, but definitely for Jeff. Remember, Jock? You don't remember that, Lizzie? You're sitting up there. I know you know that they have a code enforcement department.
He's not
because your husband used to work for it.
They're not saying that they don't have it.
Well, that's the reason why Bethel Apartments was in the condition.
Yeah, because you know why? Because he could have forced them to fix it. That's right.
Not him personally, but
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Interesting.
Yes, that's right, Miss Jeannie Moran. They set it up for failure.
Yeah.
They set it up for failure. They wanted those people out of there. Because it's money in poverty. And I know that sounds crazy, but there's a profit in poverty. As long as we can keep them in poverty, as long as we can keep the neighborhoods looking like a certain, now we can always have initiatives, these quote unquote initiatives, to make it look like we're doing something. But we're not doing anything. But okay. You can have your soapbox back.
Wow.
Or to lose that contract that provides for 94 homes under Section 8 housing. And we're working now to try and find a property, develop a property to transfer that contract to, because we need to accommodate that segment of our population.
So wait a minute, wait. The city is losing out on money because they couldn't profit anymore off of Bethel Apartments.
Because you got to remember, they were paying utilities and everything over there.
They were paying utilities and everything.
Yeah.
And they were using vouchers.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I didn't even think about that part now to think about it, Tavares. I never even thought about that.
They're telling.
Yeah.
They're telling.
That's a good lump sum. If all those apartments was completely full, that was a pretty good lump sum of money coming out of there.
Not only just that, the city, those vouchers, run it back about 5 seconds or 10 seconds.
Okay, hold up.
With that development, and we can't afford to lose that contract that provides for 94 homes under Section 8 housing. And we're working now to try and find a property, develop a property to transfer that contract to, because we need to accommodate that segment of our population.
So when you mean transfer that contract, what does that mean exactly?
That Bethel Apartments has a contract with HUD.
Okay.
To provide Section 8 housing for 94 units, where HUD actually pays the rent.
Okay.
And there's a formula on what percentage of the rent they pay based on the person's income. They pay the major
I
portion of the rent.
get that point. So, but we need to replace those units.
Yes.
On that continuum we said, where you and I would agree home ownership is the top, this was, again, no judgment for it, but it's at the least end because it's the most incented some other way than us and the most controversial for people around. Obviously, there's a pejorative attachment to that. What Kay's saying is we got to have that. There's a need for that. And so we have to replace.
Okay, y'all, see, so I just got, something just bothered me. We keep looking at people as, not, to me, I'm looking at it as they're looking at people on the low income, like they're not going to ever come out of their low income situation. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like poor people are useful, but they're not useful. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is how he's saying it, and this is how I'm hearing it. And I could be hearing it wrong. My interpretation might be wrong, but I'm hearing it like, look, people who are poor, oh, we need them, but they're not the high priority right now. Did you hear what he said?
Well, did you also hear the fact that they're not even talking about the Brownsville site that's right across the street?
I'm just saying. Make it, see, they got, like she said, they have a HUD contract, those vouchers. And
that's with the city.
Yeah.
That's the Alexandria Housing Authority.
Mm-hmm. And that
he's saying it's not attached to them.
Yeah. So they pay majority of that. So where does that money go? Who does that money go to?
Don't know.
Who gets the HUD? Don't the city of Alexandria Housing Authority gets that money?
Well, technically, if the Bethel Apartments is being foreclosed on, then they're trying to develop a property that they can own, that money comes directly back to them.
There you go. That's what she's saying.
I had to think it out.
Yeah, that you said exact. Okay, perfect. Because that's exactly what she's saying.
That's exactly what they're working on.
Yeah. That's money coming back into the place that doesn't attach to the city of Alexandria, right?
Well, it all depends on who owns that. It all depends on who owns the property. And now the city of Alexandria is trying to be the owners.
There you go.
And that's 94.
Yeah.
That's 94 units. That's 94 vouchers.
Woo.
That's 94 vouchers at what? Almost 1,000 a piece?
Yeah, almost.
And that's 94 units at 1,000 a piece. That's $94,000 a month plus utilities.
Whew. Wow.
So they're losing $100,000 a month just by Bethel Apartments being shut down.
Because I think the rent there was like 7 something in certain, but see, you got to remember they were different. They had different rooms, the bedrooms, so they had different prices.
But I mean, the people shouldn't even been paying that much.
Yeah.
But again, do you want to trust a city that lets something go down that bad?
Exactly.
Do you want to trust a group of people that let that happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you want to trust Lizzie Felter whose husband worked for code enforcement, no matter how long it was, he knew what was up.
Yep.
One thing about a crook, they don't care about anything going to fix that contamination there. Yep.
She said one thing about a
Frnk
crook.
Hunter is also a Brownsville site.
Yeah, but they won't say it is. They said they got it
They
all
won't
out of
say
there.
they won't say it is.
They said it.
One thing about a crook, they just keep listening to them, and they will tell it without even realizing they've told on themselves.
That's right. That's right. And then
not if they have anything to do with it, that would be against their purpose and profit.
Yeah.
They're dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's play a little bit of it. I got about 10 minutes left on the clock.
Well, sir.
They said, if we even, and they worked diligently for 2 years on this straight. I've watched them just labor through this. You couldn't put Bethel back because it's in a flood. So you could never put back what was there after it's.
Wait a minute. He just said something. He said it was in a flood zone.
That Bethel Apartments was built in a flood zone.
Sure did. Ooh.
It's been burned down. It's just been mistreated by the group managing it. It's so much. Last week, while in Baton Rouge, I went and met with Commissioner Barrow.
Wait. I'm trying to think of the proper adjectives to describe this. No, I'm not going to say. I don't know. Are you sure? I'm not going to do all that cussing. He said the reason why Bethel Apartments went the way that it went is because of the group that managed it. Not because code enforcement wasn't over there. Not because the city of Alexandria failed the citizens of Alexandria.
Those were citizens, regardless of who owned it. Those were still citizens of Alexandria.
The city of Alexandria failed those people at Bethel Apartments.
Sure did. It wasn't a management group.
It wasn't the management group. It was the city of Alexandria
because they could have
doing
stepped
their damn
in.
job.
They could have stepped in.
They could have been stepped in. They were getting the money. You know why they didn't step in? Because they were getting paid.
Now
they were
all
making
of a sudden,
the money off of Bethel Apartments.
Yep.
That's why they didn't step in.
Wow.
And they didn't step in until the end when what's that lady name? Cheryl, what's her name?
Don't ask me about no names.
Okay, well, the lady that's over HUD for the city of Alexandria, she just stepped in about 7-8 months ago, 9-10 months ago, right before when it was really going down, when it was pretty much already downhill. Shirley Branham is who I'm thinking of.
Oh.
She didn't come in and show up on the scene until it was over with. We had already been there and been banned 3-4 years prior to that. And been telling people about what was going on. If you can't tell, this is what I do. This is my wheelhouse.
And we are talking directly with them, direct as you can, to make sure that Office of Community Development, OCD, that we get those back. So to the extent they can put us in line and have some of that ready, we're doing it. But I know they have gone through a lot of reputable people trying to do it. Nobody can make it work. We need it. Whether it needs to be at that site or not, it can't be, because you couldn't build it and make it accommodatable.
But can't you? I mean, but could you tear it down and build it up, then rebuild it?
Not for the cost.
You would have to raise it.
About 2-3 feet.
Yeah.
Right, 2 or 3 feet, and it's cost prohibitive to do it.
Okay.
To develop on that property, the most effective and.
Now, you knew that. So you should have moved those people out of that apartment, that complex, a long time ago. You just admitted that it was built in the 60s. You admitted that it was a flood zone. You have been the man.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on. You're going to talk to me about cost prohibition, and you just put $17 million at a goddamn baseball park.
Make it make sense. Just make it make sense.
Oh, it's cost prohibitive, and it wouldn't be cost effective to raise it 2 to 3 feet. And he over there making hand motions, trying to come on.
So if that was
If you invest in the property, it'll pay off.
That's
but if
right.
you don't want to invest in the property,
You're not
then
going
you're not
to.
going to get anything out of it. What they're looking at is they're not going to be able to turn a profit off of it in enough time. So say it does take a couple million to raise it up. It's not going to cost $10 million to level off Bethel Apartments. It's not.
And put proper drainage in there. Put proper drainage in there, and you wouldn't have to worry about that.
Miss Jeannie Morris says everybody was over there getting paid one way or another.
Yup. That's right. That's right.
Hey, Miss Linda Bell. This ain't my show, Miss Linda Bell. This can be Frnk, so I can't cuss on here. But what you're looking at is this is okay.
Yep.
So if I say Jock's got 2 assholes, this is the both of them right there in one picture.
Wow. Wow. Did you
That
hear?
K My Girls is a piece of work.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust her. I wouldn't trust K My Girls. I wouldn't trust K My Girls with K My Girls.
You know how she got caught? She was talking at one of those duck hunting places or something when she was campaigning, and she made a snide remark about Catherine Davidson being gay. Because she's a staunch Republican.
That was on the ethics board?
Yeah. She's staunch Republican.
Yeah,
she's
a dirty bitch, right? I'm sorry.
All right, Tavares.
Sorry. I apologize.
She's a staunch Republican. Somebody recorded her at that meeting. She was campaigning, and she made a remark about Miss Davidson's sexuality.
Her whole reason for being in that race is to see what Jock does is Jock launches proxy wars.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of him engaging with those 4 black councilmen that he when he stepped down, he put up a proxy. He put up Jeff Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that he made sure Jeff Hall won was he put K. My Girls in that race.
Yep,
against
sure did.
Catherine Davidson.
Yep, sure did.
That way, Jeff Hall didn't have to address Catherine Davidson because K. My Girls was on the back end trying to disparage her.
Yep.
Trying to take her out of the race. And K. My Girls wasn't really concerned about winning.
Mm-mm.
Her whole thing was trying to take out Catherine Davidson so Jeff Hall would essentially get the win.
Yep. And then she turns around as soon as it's all over with.
As soon as it's all over, now she's working for Jock. She's been working for Jock the whole time.
Yeah. Yep. Sure will. That's how they do it, y'all. That's how they do it.
Miss Linda Bell says, when Roy talked, if you notice, he always turns and looks at her. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, they got a little bit more going on than just politics.
I don't know. I can't say that. You might.
Yeah, allegedly, she's trying to get to his polls. You know what I mean? Trying to bounce on his ballot. You know what I mean?
Stop. Don't you start with that. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Economical thing is to move to another.
Okay.
location.
I know that's your.
And so we've talked.
Are we going to tear those down once they move out?
I'm sorry.
Hood would have to be the one to do that.
Yeah, they got to be torn down,
So
right?
it's gonna go through foreclosure with HUD
Yeah.
and,
We can't just have those units, those empty units.
No,
in
we-
there.
I said that.
You can't have that.
Or if HUD will end up with it because no one buys it at the sheriff's sale. That's a bridge we'll have to cross, but believe me, it's on our radar.
Mr. Fowler.
With thought in mind and not to change completely from it, the unique type of housing like the tiny homes and such as that, with our code and restrictions in mind, could we use something like our overlay if it were properly done, to be able to do in smaller sections of town?
So you could, probably less overlay and more some kind of planned urban developments or diverse corridors that we would create in conjunction with communities. You'd really, so think, Alex, when we did that, we kind of have that laid out, some of that, where people would be open. But that would take a massive amount of community input from us and working with people. You're going to get pushback from everyone. It's not just not in my.
Okay, hold up. Did you hear what he just said? He said you're going to get pushback from everyone. We know that's not true. We already know that's not true.
I'm trying to evaluate how the fuck how he knows who's going to have pushback.
Yeah.
And when he says everyone, he just means them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's
what he means.
Yeah, exactly.
My neighborhood, because my house, I'm rich or poor, it's going to be everyone because it's different and it's going to be a challenge.
Mr. Mayor, so if I understand you correctly, 90-something units are going offline, and we're trying to put together a plan to replace them.
Right.
And have been for 2.5 years.
But nothing is definite.
Nothing is definite at this point, and if we don't get this money.
Wait a minute. He said they've been trying to come up with a plan to replace those 97 units for 2.5 years.
And nobody never said nothing about it.
They just closed. They still got people in Bethel Apartments. You know what's been happening over the last 2.5 years at Bethel Apartments? All those fake ass raids. Remember they had the dope dealer that was the handyman?
Yeah.
Remember the roofs were caving in?
Yeah.
Remember there were holes? Remember when we got banned?
Yeah. Ooh, Lord have mercy. When they got
man, they're over there having dirty conversations. Look, I need to cut that shit out. She said, would that allegedly make her a cougar? No.
That'll make her a puma. That makes her a puma. Yeah, a puma. Y'all crazy. Oh my God. Well, she said that's a new one on me. What that means?
Yeah, that's like an angry house cat.
Oh my God. For 2.5 years, y'all still got people living in them, but y'all been trying to do something.
But y'all been trying to shut it down for 2.5 years. Boy, y'all tell on yourselves too much.
Yeah. Oh my God. Some of those folks don't even want to leave.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of those folks, that's the only place they ever know.
Well, for one thing, they need to get accommodation for them to move up out of there. See, that's what housing is supposed to be doing, finding a place for them to stay until they get this whole thing taken care of. Why are those people still living over there?
Why are those people still there?
Please.
And why hasn't Bethel Apartments been condemned?
It should have been condemned. It should have been condemned when we went over there. Something ain't right. Something ain't right,
and they trying to fix it before anybody sees it.
Something ain't right with that. Because you guys, regardless of who owns those apartments, it doesn't matter if that person lives in Germany. The citizens pay taxes and pay utilities to the city of Alexandria. That makes
the city of Alexandria has an entire code enforcement department that is supposed to go out and make sure. And the city of Alexandria has a housing authority that has an inspections department that's supposed to inspect annually. Annually, they're supposed to go out and inspect each unit. Bethel Apartments turned it into what it turned into because of this administration.
Yeah.
And you can't blame Jeff for that because it was like that before Jeff got in office.
That's right. It was always like that. It was like that for years.
But you know what? They were making money off of it, so they didn't care.
Yeah, they didn't care.
But now that the money's gone and they can't make money off of it anymore,
now it's
all of a sudden it's a problem.
Yeah. So y'all been working on this for the last 2.5 years. You ain't said nothing to the city council about it.
Miss Linda Bell said, just keep listening. It seems like it's going to get worse. I'll stick around for another 5 minutes.
I don't care if you stick around or not.
Office of Community Development, there's some disaster recovery money there that we're asking them to reallocate for this special project. And if we don't get that, then we're not going to be able to replace those times.
Now,
It has to be done within 2 years of the default. And
we're close to
we'll
that.
Put it in February of
next.
27.
Okay.
So
Well,
we
we got
don't
a lot of time.
have a long
No.
window there. Now, if we are unsuccessful in getting this funding from ODC, then we can transfer those. We can break it up and transfer the contract in piecemeal among developments that already exist. We'd rather not do that because we're losing 90 units that people desperately
Need, exactly.
Wait a minute. So they're saying that if they don't get this done by 2027, that they're going to have to disperse it or split it
They're
up.
going to have to give back the contracts.
Is that
They're
what
going
they're
to
saying?
lose the money permanently.
No. She said no. If you listen to what she,
No, they're not going to be able to consolidate it. Basically.
yes, it's not going to be consolidated. Yeah,
they're going to have to split it up.
they're going to have to split it all up.
And they don't want to do that because that's a guaranteed $100,000 a month coming to the city.
Or more.
Well, way more than that because you got to put utilities in there.
The 96, yes.
In District 3,
Absolutely.
you know.
So our commitment would be to work with Madam President, it's her district,
Right.
to where, I mean, you're going to get pushback from somebody if the new development.
Okay.
Why is he forewarning her about pushback?
Do you notice how he keeps doing that?
Because the real pushback is him. And he's pushing back right by telling you about pushback that doesn't exist yet.
Exactly. Damn, Tavares, you good.
Development spot is apartments next to somebody. It's going to take work. It's going to take a lot of, but what can't take time, we have to hurry up.
So the problem is he's saying that the neighbors ain't gonna want them quote unquote project people.
When did okay. I wish Miss Agnes on the phone. She lived right next door to him. But
oh my God.
When did he give a fuck about what the neighbors was going through?
Exactly. Oh my God. This is
she
crazy.
said it turned into what it is by loving the locals. Hell no.
That's right.
She said he knows how to flatter Madam President. Yeah. A title is a son bitch, ain't it?
With is to identify the funds to get the commissioner and them to see it. Look, they have a bunch of money they didn't expend. They ought to be wanting to do it because they want it off their books as bad. But you can imagine the rules for this. It's like we all want it, but who wants to check and dot every I and cross those T's? Do it.
Okay, so let's stop real quick. Who wants
to follow the rules and get it done? You know what I mean?
Okay, y'all. Now let me refresh y'all memory. I think we talked about it before. This is the same mayor that refused to put a housing board together so they could take care of contracts and take care of people who already worked on stuff for the housing. He refused to put together the doggone board so they could vote and approve some of these contractors to get paid when they were working on some more houses for the housing authority. This is the same mayor. You know why? Because we got on the phone with the guy from HUD down in Washington, D.C. Me, Miss Agnes, Mr. Fuller. Who else was sitting in there with us? Tavares, was you there that day at the library?
I was there.
at the library. We had that conversation with him on a conference call where he literally told him he will come down here if he have to, if he don't put together a housing authority board. Because he refused to put it together.
Who's on your housing authority board now? Larry Turner.
And guess what, y'all? Bethel Apartments was live and well back then.
Jock, you know what?
Woo!
He thinks he's too smart, and that's what's making him look stupid.
She said, wait a minute. She said, just wait and see the gesture the Madam President say and make. I had to take my mask off and look at her. Okay.
Hold on.
Okay, we going here.
So we gave them a timeline that they built, which we're happy to share what happened in the timeline and presented it to them. Said, you can fact check all this, go for it. Here's where we are.
And when we spoke yesterday, I told them, I want it. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Let's not put it somewhere else because my district need it.
Yeah.
And so both of them said, we're going to try our best to make it happen. And so whatever it takes for all of us to work together to get it done, then that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I just want my fellow council members to know that I'm going to be working with the administration, and I'll be we'll be formulating a program, various programs. So expect to hear from me and the administration in several weeks to come. I've been working with Mr. Goins also. He's connected me with a gentleman in Shreveport, and we've been kind of meeting and
Regarding affordable housing.
Regarding affordable housing. So we got some work to do, man. We got some work to do. I think we can get the work done. And I think the people of Alexandria will be pleased with the end result. So let's just get to work and make it happen. So are there any additional comments? Additional comments? All right. All right, well, Ms. Fowler? All right. Matters adjourned. Committee's adjourned.
Okay.
You know what, Cynthia? I got my eye on you.
It's just something ain't right. Because let me tell y'all something. If I'm not mistaken,
let me rephrase that. I think Larry Turner's on that housing authority board. I believe he is. I may be wrong.
Okay, let me ask you this. Was Cynthia, when we were doing Bethel Apartments, was Cynthia Perry the city council person, or was that Jules Green?
That was Jules.
He came to that meeting when we got. I think he came to our meeting.
He did.
He came to all our meetings.
Yes, he did.
When we were meeting down there.
Well, majority of them.
When we was meeting at New Scott College. Okay, so my issue with Cynthia is even after he was the city council person, I wonder how often did she go and have a meeting with those people at Bethel Apartments?
Let me tell you something. Cynthia and Larry Turner, who's also a big advocate for quick throw up, who's also an advocate for putting housing in flood zones. They're best buddies. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I'm not a big fan of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't buy any of that.
No.
The enemy of my enemy is still the ops.
Yeah.
And then it's always going to be me against all of them, period. But Larry Turner is a known philanderer, posing as posing as someone who's being philanthropic, and he's not.
Yeah.
He's not a philanthropist at all. He's a philanderer. There's a difference.
Yes, we talking about Larry Turner. Yeah, the pastor of Christian Love.
Are you gonna put a pin in that and come back next week?
Yeah, we're gonna put a pin in this. Yeah, I am. But I just wanted y'all to I know I didn't do a great job. I'm gonna work on my what's the name more. I don't know what
It
happened.
got better towards the end. You just, you gotta start it out a little bit better.
Whatever, Tavares. I'm not taking no criticism from you.
Okay.
You just like look, you just like Josh. You just like Josh. Okay, so y'all,
There's things that are going on that you can't see, and there's things that I can tell you that, and see, Julie, she can tell you about it better than I can. And sometimes Kay's going to agree, she's going to disagree. That's why I've got these people on the staff with me. And there's different ways that we can get this done, but I'm pretty sure that each one of those ways is going to benefit me.
Mm-hmm. Yep, those folks, yep.
And so at the end of the day, the day's got to end. And I appreciate Malcolm. I appreciate what you're doing, Councilman. But Madam President, we had a talk. We did. We had a talk, and it was very fruitful, very passionate, very loving, very tender.
No, what she did was he convinced her that we need to do something simply because we losing money. That's I can.
Very soft. It was a very soft conversation.
Yes, it was.
Very emotional, very touching. We talked for hours, and it was a very loving conversation. And at the end of it all, we decided that we've got to do something about something, or we're going to do nothing about anything.
So that tells you a lot, okay? That tells you a lot. And that's very interesting that Bethel Apartments became.
They have been making bank off of Bethel Apartments all this time. They've been making bank off those poor people and I'm not talking about poor people financially, about the way the poorly treated people. Mm-hmm. They have been making bank off those people the whole time.
Mm-hmm. And didn't do nothing about it.
It didn't do anything about it. That's why they don't like people like us. They don't want Malcolm to advocate for those people.
Not really. Not really.
Now if you really pay attention, Jock Roy was hostile this whole little interaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was on the defense the whole time.
Yep. Yeah, he was very condescending. You're right, Miss Colson. He sure was.
Yeah, and very condescending.
You know what, y'all? Right now, I'm gonna be honest and truthful to you guys. Right now, my heart is so heavy right now that I'm about to cry. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I was with those people. I went into their homes in the way that they were living. I saw big holes in the wall in her bathroom, this young lady's bathroom, where she has a garbage bag stuck in the hole. I was in this other lady's house where I accidentally left my purse, where in her closet, the water was leaking so bad that it ruined her clothes in her closet. My heart is heavy right now.
And that's all because they were making money off of those people. Mm-hmm. And that's why, that's what real advocacy does. Yep. Real advocacy, you put yourself in those people's shoes.
Mm-hmm. You have to have the passion
putting
to
yourself with those people.
Mm-hmm. And you guys,
you can't advocate from the outside.
No,
if it's too bad, you can't advocate from the outside. Mm-hmm. You got to go see it for yourself.
Yeah. And they were asking me to come to their home. I wasn't just walking up to them. They were asking me to come look at their home, their apartment.
We did right. You can't be heavy about that.
I know.
Did right.
I know.
We did right. We did so much right that those bums that run that place had to put a note on everybody's door to let them know that the Sinlaw Housing Alliance was banned from coming out to Bethel Apartments. When have you ever known a community organization be banned? You can't ban anybody from coming to anybody's house, but they did.
They sent them a letter, and they told them
sent them a letter and threatened them people and told
Yep.
them if they let us in their apartments to
That they
take
were gonna
pictures
fine
and
them.
photos, they were going to violate them and put them and write them up.
Yep, sure did. Yeah.
See, Jock,
Yeah.
it's over. It's over, Jock. You can hang it up.
Yeah. They sent a letter out, and the letter said if we come to their homes, they were going to give them a violation.
They were going to write them up.
Write them up and give them a violation. You know, and when you're under that HUD, when you're under those vouchers, you can't have a lot of violations.
You can't have a lot of violations.
Yeah.
You can't have two because they're going to turn them into HUD.
That's right. Sure will. And you guys, we weren't raising hell. We weren't we were going over there because the people were requesting us to come look at their houses and take pictures. And some of them people were so scared.
Wait a minute. You went over there to take pictures. Once they got the police involved, I went over there to raise hell.
But you didn't have to. That's the whole point. You didn't have to.
No, I wanted to flip that whole building over because them people, that management team that they got over there, I know firsthand that they ain't shit. We know firsthand.
One lady, her mom lived over there, and they put, when she came to complain about something dealing with her mom, do you know they put a gun on the table to let them know on the desk? She had a gun. I'm not lying. She had a gun.
It was the rent. They would when on days
they
would collect rent.
Oh yeah,
the lady. Why would you need to be? Okay, so first off, that was a violation because you can't have firearms on HUD property.
Yep, she sure had it.
If it's federally funded, you can't have firearms there.
But she sure had it. We got a witness. It was her mother. She came to pay the rent.
We don't name.
We're not going to name the people that. No, we're not going to name them. But it did happen.
I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't mind. But if you go to the Universal Collective Network, if you go to our photos, I want to say no. If you go to the Sinlow Housing Alliance Facebook page,
I think it's still up. I think
it's still there. Yeah, I run it still. I know I haven't updated it in a while. Please say what again?
What you want me to say again? You trying to record me?
No.
What you want me to say again? Yes, the lady had a gun on the table. Yes,
when the people would come in
to pay their rent.
Rent day, and the people would come in to pay their rent. The staff decided it would be clever to put a pistol on the top of the table.
Yep.
So and they're behind the glass already.
Yeah. Yep.
Sure
did.
I don't know.
Those people were so nasty and so rude. Oh, those people were nasty, mean, and rude to their renters.
And and like I said, those vouchers are worth $100,000 a month. That's $120,000 a year. No. Wait, that's $1 million a year.
You saying $100,000 a month, Tavar?
Yeah, in 10 months, that's $1 million.
Yeah.
So Bethel Apartments was making $1.2 million a year for the city.
Close to it.
And those people were living like that.
And they have been, and these people, and Latasha, she is my witness. Those people have been out there for years. The issue that happened that brought us over there, this lady had been there in them apartments over 20-something years. And her sister was living there too. Had her own apartment. So they had been there for years when this situation arose.
So, y'all, I hope that gives y'all a little bit of insight as to why we know so much about what we know and why we feel the way we feel about that fucktard Pop-Tart that is Jock Roy.
And we have witnesses. We're not making it up because we got people who are still alive that know this stuff took place.
Well, not even just that. If you go to the Sinlaw Housing Alliance Facebook page.
Let me see. Let me see if I can pull it up.
We have pictures of the letters. We have pictures of the apartments, and they're all timestamped. This was years ago. This was, dare I say, this was right before COVID.
Yeah, it was.
It was right before COVID. We came out there. Mom came out there. They called. Well, they tried to run. Well, they tried to run Mama off, and she ended up leaving her purses in one of the ladies' apartments that she was taking pictures in.
Yeah.
And the lady left, and so they ended up leaving her keys inside that apartment, so Mama couldn't leave. But they had already called the police. So me and my homeboy pull up in the Benz truck. I hop out while it's still rolling, and these assholes are in golf carts with my mama surrounded by the APD. And I'm bucking to the ceiling. I'm trying to turn that bitch up.
They were saying you didn't need to do all that. The police.
Yeah, I didn't care about any of that. Because under what circumstances did Miss Alita McCall, all people warrant the law enforcement to be come on, bro. Are you serious? You called the cops on my mama? For what? She's out here trying to help. Oh, you didn't want her helping these people. That's what this was.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it.
If you go to my page, I got a link to it.
I got it. I got it. I got to get into it. That's all. I just need to get into it.
Those people didn't deserve that. But you know what? It's still Jack Roy. He's the one that did it. And the only thing he's concerned about is replacing it. That's the only thing he's concerned about. And they've done all this very quietly. All the movement of the people, they did that very quietly. They didn't want to make a big deal about it. So KLAB, Jock, just a message to you. KLAB is the least of your worries. You gotta go see God for the stuff y'all done did. You gotta see him.
Okay.
And you can't.
I found a video. I found one video. And
okay. Share the screen. I gotta go.
Huh? Hold up. Yeah, give me a second.
Situations going on out here. It's a damn shame.
Oh.
Some stuff that's going on out here. Yep. If you look up there, top of that building is gone. I just got them talking to a couple of people. They say they got to boil water to take baths out here. Look, this the Belton Apartments. That apartment complex right there, don't nobody live in there. But the people are steady getting money from the government for stuff like that. You see, last time we was here, we got, well, I didn't, but somebody, got in trouble for telling the truth about this. The cameras are only on that building right there. They said because some copper got stolen. So they just watched that building right there. But here's the deal, though. It's unsafe for these people because folks come through the back of this gate right here.
and could be getting these apartment complexes any time they want to. This building right here is damn near empty. You see, so this is some unlivable situations we got right here in the Belford Apartments complex. You see, they treat people like they in the third world country. I walked to this thing right here. They don't have no kind of lights or nothing, no kind of electricity. We'll go around. And I don't want to get nobody in trouble, so just look. It's damn near. I guess they don't want to keep it clean or nothing out here. Now look at the trash now. This is. I'm not gonna put nobody's child on here. That ain't what I want. That ain't what I want to do. But see, I noticed what they're doing out here. Just because people are less fortunate, that don't mean that they are shouldn't be treated like they're human. Now I'm gonna do another trip right here. Oh Lord, y'all. It ain't what it used to be. That's all I can say. This place is the only reason I'm out here, y'all, is because some people called me out here. You know, I'm finna back up and go back out here. Stuff like this has got to stop. You got people sleeping in some of those abandoned buildings back there. That's dangerous. I'm just hearing some bad stuff about Belford Apartments. What can the folks do? This is District 3 now. This in District 3. Off Woolly Glen. You see, like I said, I don't want to bring nobody on camera because they're trying to retaliate against the people because they don't want them the truth to be out.
Yeah.
But it's sickening that they take government money and not do nothing to these apartments. This is run down, and they always say they're gonna do something, but they don't do nothing. This is run down apartments. Oh, they look good in the inside. Y'all, we got mold in some of those apartments. I'm talking about mold. Well, you damn near die. That's how much mold they got in the apartments.
Yep.
I ain't got your iPad. That was iPad. Oh Lord. Yeah, this y'all. This don't make no sense.
Yeah.
It just run down, y'all. I mean, look, and I'm not talking about the people. The people call me out here because I don't know nothing about Belford Apartment. You know, they said they keep the camera on that building right there because the copper got stolen. Why not keep the camera on the kids or something like that? You see, look at that stuff right there. They're working on stuff. They say the maintenance men get mad at you when you don't work on nothing. I mean, when you ask them to work on something, the maintenance men get mad at you. Now they might have one or two maintenance men. That one maintenance man that's good. But see, here's what I'm saying, y'all. This is my thing. See, now this building right here. All the top going off that building. But they're telling the HUD people, hey, look, yeah, somebody living there. So they're probably getting some money off those people. You see, just because we poor, that don't mean that we need to live like this. You see, we just don't need to live like this. It's getting to the point where they're treating the poor people, because it ain't about white and black. I just seen some white people come in here. The poor people are getting treated wrong. And I don't think that, you know, the city councilman do nothing about this. Y'all, a lady had to boil some hot water to take a bath. Y'all, they won't fix their hot water tanks, y'all. Understand what I'm saying? They won't fix these people hot water tanks. But yet still, they got inspections coming. Now, how you gonna have inspection coming when some stuff ain't fixed in the damn in apartments? So listen, they can't pass an inspection if the stuff ain't done. You see, and I'm starting to think this is mostly the what they do to bust there with the armor tanks and stuff there. That's why they come over here all the time. That's what I'm thinking this for. I don't think this place is supposed to be. I don't think people supposed to be living over here. But you ever notice all the armor tanks get brought over here, stuff like that. You see, they. I'm not gonna say nothing about the grass because it's been raining. But this building right here, 712, this building no good. But I bet you on paper they telling folks that people stay in this building. Yeah, let me blow it up right there. 712. 712 ain't got a lick of electricity in there. But see what they do is tell people, oh yeah, we got people staying here.
I'm gonna stop that because I want you guys, if you heard what he said, and all those buildings, I know exactly where he's talking about. These people, when you think about your children living in these conditions, these people were so afraid. When we actually had a meeting, and we were trying to get people to come to the meeting, right? These people were so afraid with me and Nat, and we were bringing people back to Scott Alley because, you know, the new Scott Alley Baptist Church is right there, right? Missionary Baptist Church. So we were transporting them from Bethel Apartments to the meeting so they could sit down and talk to we had Greater New Orleans Housing Alliance came down, and we had the public defender for to help them with the cases, right? Do you know that those people were too afraid to come with us because they said they knew they were going to get retaliated against? That's what they were going through with those people that were in there. They were catching hell in there. They were too scared to come with us to the meeting. Now, some people came, but not everybody came that should have came because they were afraid to get in the car. They didn't want nobody see them get in a car with us and take them down to the meeting. We was even transporting them back and forth to the meeting so that they could talk and complain to the lawyer, because we had a lawyer standing there. There was a lawyer sitting there with us and was going to talk to them. So yeah, I get sad because these people didn't deserve the way they were treated all those years. Because those people, there's a lot of people that their kids grew up out there. And they've been living in these conditions for this long. So when Jock tries to distance himself from Bethel Apartments and pretend like it's an eyesore, when he could have stepped in and helped them, I get pissed. I get pissed. So let me show you something else from that page. Let me see if I can find the pictures. Hold up, let me see. Let me see something here. Okay, let me see if I can find that letter that was sent to us. Oh, that's when Sinler Housing Alliance came out. This is when we had a conversation. This guy right here, let me see if you can see it. Okay. At the time when Obama was in office, this was the Secretary of Housing, and we got an interview with him when I was with the Sinler Housing Alliance. We had an opportunity to actually talk to him. I'm trying to find the photos. And we were asking people to join the Sinler Housing Alliance. Oh, that's me. Let's see here. I want to thank you, Girl Reporter Candace Cheney, Sandra. Okay, I forgot what that was. Our meeting. Okay, so I'm trying to find. Oh, I know it is. Come on. There we go. So I'm trying to find that letter. Okay, here it goes right here. This is when we were saying Lula Harris is the lady. Nope, that was in 2021. Sinlaw Housing Alliance gave attention to Bethel Apartments and y'all they gone. So that's when we got rid of the people that was there at the time who put the guns up on the table and all that. Let's see if I can find. We were having neighborhood group meetings. We were trying to get everybody involved in all that. So I'm trying to find the letter. We did a show on it. This is when I think we were talking about those houses, the containment houses. Let me see. I'm trying to find that letter. Okay. If I can't find it, you guys, I'm telling you, we were working our tails off. Just look, these homes right here. I cannot believe I can find. We had a meeting. Is this our meeting? Housing Authority. Oh, that was New Roads. They used to come down and have meetings with us from all over the Sinlaw Housing Alliance. Okay, hold up. Okay, hold up. Hello? Why are you? Okay, there we go.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Mama, go into the photos.
Hold up. I'm trying to.
Just go into the photos. There's a whole photo section.
It doesn't have, it just has videos. It don't have photos in here.
Okay, then go to the videos.
Tavares, we already went over a video already. Just stop for a minute. Hold up.
There's a section on the site that's specifically for the photos and other.
Pumpkin, stop it. Stop it, Pumpkin. Stop. Stop. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm trying to tell you it's not there. That's all I'm trying to tell you, baby. Don't allow. Okay, what is? Oh, why is it ringing? Okay. Everybody went out. I'm sorry, you guys. Give me a second here. Okay. It went out. I guess they'll call back in. Okay. So I'm trying to find the letter. And I can't find the letter. Let me go back out. Let me see. Oh, let's see here. Nope. It's not showing. Oh, here we go. Here's the letter, you guys. Here's the letter. So this is the letter that they sent out. Let me make sure y'all can see it. Can you see the letter? Okay. Okay. If there's any former residents in Bethel Apartment that want to sue the city of Alexandria government, they should, because they have a hell of a case. That's right. It's that time. Yeah, it's the time you got banned. Yes, that's right. Just is okay. The letter. Okay, here's the letter that was written, you guys. So let me see. Let me read it to y'all, so you think I'm not crazy, right? It says here, dear residents, the organization known as Sinlaw Housing Alliance is banned from the property as of Thursday, July 22nd, 2021. The named organization above is not affiliated with Bethel Apartments or HUD. You do not have to speak with any members or give out any personal information. If any resident comes in contact with the organization or persons affiliated with Sinlaw Housing Alliance, you can deny them entry. Notify the office or call the Alexandria Police Department, and it gave the number. If the person or persons are found inside your unit, you will be subject to lease violation and or further consequences. If there's any comments or concerns, please feel free to call the office. As always, thanks to management. That's the letter that they sent out to all the residents to keep us from coming up there and talking to them. And y'all, mind you, we were invited to their residence. They're telling them if you even invite them to your residence, you are going to get a leasing violation. And for them to say we weren't affiliated with HUD, we didn't have to be affiliated with HUD. We were a housing organization. So we don't have to be affiliated with anybody. But we were. There are 7 parishes. How many of us all together? I think it was either between 12. I think it's about 12 of us. They're called housing alliances. And we had one in New Roads. We had one in Monroe. We have one in Shreveport. We have one in New Orleans. New Orleans was our lead, right? New Orleans, oh my God. Baton Rouge. Who else was with us? Tavares should know the rest of them, but it was a whole bunch of us, and we're called housing alliances. That's what we were called. And we did this type of work. We worked with all kinds of people from all over the country that dealt with affordable housing and housing in general, safe housing, environmental, the whole 9 yards. We even worked with the energy utility people. There's an organization, a nonprofit organization that deals with utilities, the energy, I forgot what they're called. We worked with them. Matter of fact, they've said in many of our meetings at the library. Matter of fact, they came down to talk about the utilities, and your mayor, the mayor that we just talking about, your mayor didn't even want to meet with them. They needed to see what was going on with the utilities. He didn't even want to talk to them about the utilities because of all the complaints people were having. So what I'm saying to you guys, we laid the foundation for all the work. Yeah, it was, energy. It's an energy company. I forgot the name of them. Nice people, very nice. But they were a nonprofit organization that dealt with utilities. And they helped people find out, what's going on with the utilities. That's what they did. Jacques Roy didn't even want to meet with them. And these people are not from here. These people come from Baton Rouge and New Orleans and Shreveport. We were talking about, we used to have our what those meetings were called when we have our Housing Alliance yearly meeting we would have, and we would go over things that we were trying to bring here. One of the things was that renters registry. Yeah. We begged people to come to our meetings. Sometimes, y'all, it would be just me and Tavares. There was times when our meetings were just us. Our monthly meetings, we would have the whole 9 yards. Y'all, you have no idea how exhausting the work we have tried to do. Because people were so afraid to be even dealing with us because they knew there were going to be some retaliation. Yeah. Yeah. And the connections, the long arms we had with the people that we could talk to, that bothered them. That bothered them. But that was Sinlaw Housing Alliance was actually Miss Agnes' baby. Miss Agnes wound up, when she was doing her EPA work, she wound up going to a meeting, and that's how she met Adriana, whatever her name is. Adriana. When she met her, she asked her, would she like to start a housing alliance organization in Alexandria after Miss Agnes told them what was going on. And that's how we got started. Yeah, that rental registry would have definitely helped. Yep, sure would. It definitely would. Yep. And we fought. We fought. Even though we was walking up against brick walls sometimes, we still fought. We stayed putting things together, putting programs together, trying to get people out. Mr. Labadan was part of, I mean, everybody who needed to do something. I'm not talking about Malcolm, I'm talking about Ed. They would participate in whatever it is that we needed. They would participate in it. I'm just saying. So, yeah, my heart gets heavy when I think about Beth, because Bethel Apartments was very, when I saw those people and how they were living, that did something to me. And they didn't have to live that way. So when Jock sits there and pretend, like I said earlier, like he tries to distance himself from Bethel Apartments, he was part of the problem. Yeah, they know her by her first name. Miss Nancy retired. Miss Nancy was the lady that we did a lot of our meetings with. She would bring people from all over the place to meet us. Right there. That library, that Martin Luther King library down Lower Third, they knew us because we had a lot of our meetings there. We had a hell of a lot of our meetings there. Miss Agnes was doing EPA and housing. She was doing both. I've sat in meetings with doctors, and I'm saying this for a reason, talking about housing. When Dr. Bowles would work with us from time to time, we wind up, me and her would go to different type of meetings. I couldn't tell you half them people that we talked to, but it was so many different people that we wind up talking to. Yeah. So we and I appreciate everything everybody ever did. I appreciate everything. Everything. People came and helped as much as they could. And I stepped down because I was like, you know what? Now it's time for me to move on. These young folks can come in and do this work. I said, okay, I'm stepping down. And I gave it over to this knucklehead right here. So anybody who says anything about us not being residents of Alexandria can shove it. You doggone right. Sure can. They sure ain't got nothing to do. We're not outsiders. We're far from outsiders. Okay. We are far from outsiders. We don't have to live there to do the work because nobody else was doing it. And we know nobody else. They were too scared to do it. The militant in us, the tenacity, the perseverance that we have, you can say whatever you want about us. But we got the attention of who we needed to get the attention of, whether they wanted it or not. So all I'm saying is we needed people to come on board and just be those advocates. I mean, we were sitting down at tables with people from Washington State, the state Washington. We were sitting down with there's an African American, I think her name Bell. I think her last name is Bell. She's an attorney. We were sitting at the table with her because they were trying to put together a lawsuit against the city of Alexandria. They were going to help us with the housing and the utilities. Who does well, good teacher also. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just saying, The work was there, and we just needed the people. We weren't trying to run nothing. All we needed was people to say, okay, if I'm at this meeting, you go to this meeting, and then we can just get together and talk about what happened at that meeting. So, I mean, we were also, Nat was with us. We were all over the place trying to make everything work out. And we were spreading ourselves real thin. Folks that suffering, scared to say something, they just complain among themselves. Exactly right. Because I told y'all, Nat was one of the people who was transporting them down to New Scott Alley to the meeting to meet with the lawyer. And doggone the Housing Alliance from New Orleans was there. So I'm just saying, the work was there, and the work is still there, because Tavares still gets phone calls from people. Still to this day, he gets phone calls from people complaining about their homes and how they're living. And this guy, this mayor of yours, sits there and pretend like all of a sudden now they concerned about Bethel Apartments. He was the mayor. Before Jeff got in office, he was the mayor. And Bethel Apartments was exactly like that. Mold in their home. Matter of fact, the person that initially I got in contact with, that wound up connecting with, their daughter came to us and asked us to help. And we went to her house, and she had mold in her kitchen, in her closet, in her kitchen. That's how this all started. And then at the time, when they do inspections, that's what I wanted to say too. When Nat was talking about the inspections, they used a certain apartment for their inspections in order for them to pass the inspection. And her apartment was one of the apartments they were using. So if you have a nice clean, her apartment was beautiful on the inside. She kept it real nice. They would use her apartment for the inspection. That doesn't mean that they're checking in the closets and stuff where you would find the water damage or anything like that. They made sure that her apartment looked she always kept her apartment looking nice. So they would do that and use her apartment as the place where they would send the inspectors when it's time for it to get inspected. And they did this for years. So they never really saw all of the apartments out there, Bethel. They only saw certain ones. That's how they was doing that. That's how they were passing their inspections. I'm not telling you something I'm making up. I'm telling you what I know. Her apartment was used as the what you call that? The model apartment. When the inspectors came, when HUD came to inspect, in order for them to keep those vouchers coming in, and to order for them to get keep the vouchers coming in and continue to be certified through HUD. And the Louisiana Housing Corporation is the one who holds their certificates, so that they continue to get that money from the federal government. How do I know that? Because I spoke to him on the phone myself. Matter of fact, he was on several of our Housing Alliance meeting calls when we had them big conference calls. We talked to him on there. There was going to be a class action lawsuit against the owners of Bethel and the city of Alexandria. It sure was. You're right, Tavares. Yep. When they call me, I send them to him. Yep. You went to Bethel Apartments and got banned. Yes, I sure did. The city was breaking the rules of the inspection process. That's right. Sure was. Yep. Her apartment was the model apartment that they would use when they came down to do their inspections in order for them to keep getting those vouchers. They would send them to certain apartments, and her apartment was the model apartment. Sure did. Mm-hmm. Yep. And all I did was go there to help, because that's what we do. That's what Sinline Housing Alliance does. That was one of our duties, is to make sure people are getting fair treatment and living in living conditions, healthy, in a healthy environment, a safe environment. That's what we did. Oh yeah, it was a mess. And it lasted about a good 2 or 3 months before anything. Finally, they got rid of that staff because I showed you the post where they finally, because we finally we talked to the guy over Louisiana Housing Corporation. He let us know that they got rid of that gang that was in there. That's how we knew they were gone. And then somebody else came in. So yeah, Bethel Apartments, for the way that they treat them, I blame the city of Alexandria. I blame the housing, city of Alexandria Housing Authority. I blame them all for the way Bethel Apartments. Them people should have never lived like that. When those apartments started flooding, like they quote and say it's in a floodplain, and they knew it was in a floodplain, they should have been moved those people out of those homes. They should have been moving people out of those homes. When I saw that hole in that woman's bathtub, above her bathtub, where she was sticking trash bags in it, that blew my mind. And mold around it, the whole 9 yards. She tried to keep it clean. You can't keep it clean if it's got water coming through the wall. And they didn't want us talking to the people. I didn't go over there being mad. Matter of fact, I had on a black skirt. I had some pumps on. I had a black and flowered shirt. It was black and had red flowers or roses in it. I went over there looking like I had some sense, because you ain't gonna catch me. If I'm doing something like that, you ain't gonna catch me looking crazy. I ain't going out with I don't wear bonnets anyway, but you ain't gonna catch me with no bonnet on. I looked like I was professional, like I was supposed to when you go to places like that. So you couldn't say I was no bum looking woman coming up there being messy and no, They asked me to come up there. I took pictures like they asked me to. When I was leaving, the lady who stopped me, that I was in her apartment where I left my purse, she stopped me and asked me to come look at her apartment. She was the one who, I think, who had the water in her closet, where the water was coming in her closet, and where her house had flooded out, and they had to pull up the rugs and stuff out of her bedroom all the way into her living room. So, no. Yeah. So what I'm telling you guys, when we talk about this stuff, we're not making this up. This happened. And you got to keep in mind, right across the street from Bethel Apartments is contaminated. Right across the street from where Miss Agnes lived at is contaminated. So I'm just saying. I know y'all probably say, "Oh Lord, here they go with these war stories," but no, we we earned our damn what's the name? We earned our names being mentioned by Jock Roy. And I'm not saying it in a way of bragging. I'm saying when he say some screwed up stuff, yeah, because we know. We know. Yeah, they saw. They came out their houses. And this other lady, I was about to leave, and she called me. It was another older lady, matter of fact, asked me to come into her apartment. And she was showing me in her house where her damage was in her house and how she been living. And she was on a bottom floor apartment. So we came over there came over there to talk to one person. And that's how I wound up talking to all them other people. And so when I got banned, and the police told them, you can't tell her that she can't come over here, because the person in the house, the original person out of the house, they came up there and asked her, did you invite her in your house? She said, yes, I invited her in my house. He said, so you don't have a problem with her being, she said, I'm going to say it to you again. I invited her to my house. She's not doing anything wrong. So they questioned me about what I do and all that. And I told them that I was with Central Housing Alliance. It's a organization that deals with housing issues and all that. So I told them how it feel. And he said, oh, okay. So he left. And he told them, you can't tell her she can't come and visit these people. You can't ban her off this property. She said, if she's coming to visit these people up here, you can't tell her she can't come see them. And you can't tell them they can't have her in their house. They got mad. That's what really made them mad. Because they thought the police was going to escort me off the property. You know, because he said she's not doing nothing wrong. So that's what I'm trying to say, y'all. It just oh Lord have mercy. So I'm gonna leave that there, because that just brought up some memories on me on stuff I thought I had totally forgot about. But yeah. Yep. That's how we did Bethel Apartments. We tried our best to help them as much as we could. But those people were afraid. They were scared. They were. We would have helped a lot more people if they weren't scared. Yeah. Yeah, it is depressing when you can't help people, because that's what, when I'm that type of person. I love helping people. And when I can't get the whole thing done, when I can't bring it to a resolution, that bothers me. That bothers me. It really does, because I want to bring it to a resolution. I want somebody. So it says here also real quick, she said, I talked to you yesterday. Thank you so much for stepping up for us. We really appreciate it. This morning, she had the nerve to send us this paper, but it's okay. God sits high and looks low. So that morning after, that's when they got this letter. That's what she was saying. That's what she was saying, that they got that letter the next day after we left, after the incident. She said, thank you so much for stepping up for us, because nobody has done that. So the proof is in the pudding. We didn't make that up. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys get some rest. I really enjoyed it. I didn't know it was that late. Oh, Lord, it's almost midnight, y'all. You let us talk that long? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. I'm going to leave that with you so you can see, we ain't making none of this stuff up. If Miss Agnes was still here, she'd tell you too. So I was just saying, it is depressing. It is, baby. It was. Because I like helping people, and I like to see, I don't want to say me by myself, because it was a group of us doing this. It was only a handful of us, but we were loud enough that we got people's attention. So that's why it don't take a whole crowd to do stuff. It don't. All it needs is the right people for the right situation that has the knowledge and the energy and the wherewithal to make it happen. It's all it takes. You look at how it only takes 4 lawyers to do what they're trying to do right now. You saw it yourself. You got Trey Gist that sits there and author all those ordinances, and then they put Fowler and Ballard names on it to get passed through. Okay? So it don't take a lot. You just got to have all those qualities to make it happen. That's all. So you guys, I want you to have a great weekend. It's already Saturday morning almost. You guys enjoy yourself. Have a happy Memorial Day. I don't know if I don't think I'm gonna do a show tomorrow night. I don't need to. But you guys have a happy Memorial Day. Be safe. I guess Tavares will be back. It says it makes you wonder. Okay, let me see what you say, baby. I'm sorry. It makes you wonder if that's what made them decide to start looking at getting it ready to make it go away. Wow, you know what? He said they've been working on that for two years. So that was back in 2022. No, 25. No, that was 2023. That happened in 2021 when we were doing that. Yeah, 2021, 2022. Yeah. Because it was a lot. I'm going to tell you, it was a lot going on, and it was a lot of eyes on Bethel Apartments. Yeah. It was a lot of eyes on Bethel Apartments. Sure was. Because I think I remember him saying they've been working on it for 2.5 years. Yep, he did say that. Sure was. You're right. Good night, everyone. And this was an awesome show. Thank you. You're welcome, Miss Bell. You guys have a great night. I'm sorry. Miss Jeannie, keep talking. Quit talking, Miss Jeannie. Y'all go to bed. Get some sleep. You guys have a great night. Thank you again. And good night. Let's see how we gonna do this. Give me a second here. Here we go.